everybody how to look. It's been 8 months. It's been 8 months since we had this opportunity.
With high expectations going into this season, Susquehanna University's loss in Week 1 means there's room for improvement.
We saw mistakes that we made on film. We saw that we made mistakes that were correctable, and that, it's easy fixes. So we're confident, we learned from it, and we feel good going into this weekend.
Now comes another big test in the Centennial League opener with nationally ranked Johns Hopkins.
I think this year we really came together, and the focus is a lot stronger this year, and we're more of a team this year. We gelled, and we're just continuing to work hard and stay together, and I think we got a real good chance of being successful.
Last season, the Crusaders played the Blue Jays tough. Can they pull off the upset? It's Johns Hopkins and Susquehanna next. That could be the one. 6'5" and all. He's going to reach for the end zone. He gets in. One guy to score. Switches hands, and see you later. He is hits no read. Queller in for a touchdown. That could be the dagger.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week. Brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
Touchdown. That could be the one that sends them to the state final. Welcome to a wet, damp Lepardo Stadium on the campus of Susquehanna University as the Crusaders get ready for their Centennial League opener. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Ide. Welcome to our live local coverage of college football here on My Network TV. Joining me today is the former Wilkes University head football coach Joe DeMelfi. Down on the field, we'll talk to Mike Ferlazzo. He's the former sports information director here at Susquehanna. And Joe, let's talk about the difference between Week 1 and 2. What kind of changes can the Crusaders make?
I think one of the things with the young quarterback, obviously he has some ability. Coaches look at the tape with him. They take him to the next level. Biggest improvement, Week 1, Week 2. Krusko has the tools. You have to put him in a situation where he'd be successful.
Well, you mentioned Krusko. He was trial under fire last week for him. Coaches, though, feel he played pretty well.
And that's what you can build on that, Bob. If you have something that you can't build on, big mistakes, that's another thing. But I think they feel Krusko has that ability. They just have to put him in a situation where he's going to take that team to the next level.
Defensively, the Crusaders returned a lot on that side of the ball, including their middle linebacker, Jim Barry.
And they're going to need some stops. Johns Hopkins, strong rushing game, 2 big backs returning. So Barry and his group are going to have to make some stops.
14 tackles a week ago. Well, for 25 years, the Crusaders have been under the direction of Steve Briggs, and he's now standing by with Mike on the field.
Thanks, Bob. And Steve, coming into this game, it's your home opener. You've got Johns Hopkins coming here. They're nationally ranked, and they're the preseason favorites again in the Centennial Conference. Talk about the challenges that they present.
We can't make mistakes. We certainly can't make the mistakes we did a week ago. This team is probably more explosive, more athletic, bigger. We know what they are. We just got to play our game, and that's probably the best part about being young, Mike. We got a bunch of guys that were in high school last year and probably don't know anything about Johns Hopkins other than it's a great biology school. So, I mean that sincerely too. We're just really going to try to stay focused on what we can do.
And what you can do probably is shorten the game a little bit. So how important is ball control in the kicking game today?
Huge. We're hoping that the kicking game is a place we can, do some catch up because there is big play capability against them. But there's also for them towards us. So it's one of those games. We'll know early if we can hang with them and really shorten the game in that sense. We got a chance.
All right. Well, good luck in the game, Steve.
Thanks, Mike.
And back up to you, Bob.
Well, thank you, Mike. It's been raining in Selinsgrove since this morning. The field turf is soaking wet. We'll have to see how that plays out through the game. It's Johns Hopkins and Susquehanna in the Centennial League opener. Well, the opening kickoff and the starting lineups on the way.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week. Brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
Since 1858, the campus of Susquehanna University has been nestled along the Susquehanna River in Selinsgrove, including Lepardo Stadium and Amos Alonzo Stagg Field. The campus has over 2,200 undergraduate students from 21 countries. Well, welcome back inside Lepardo Stadium. We are in Sealands Grove on a rainy, damp, just dreary day as we get ready for Johns Hopkins at Susquehanna, and it's our national anthem. Bob Joe DeMelfi inside a warm booth here on the campus of Susquehanna. And Joe, let's talk about your do's and don'ts coming up for Susquehanna University.
One of the things at the top of this is not listed is take care of the ball, but they have to make some defensive stops early. They have to force third downs, go from there. Once they're on offense, Bob, long time of possession, so they keep the ball away from Hopkins. Last, special teams always have to play well from the special teams. If they do that, they can hang in there with this football team. Can't make the same mistakes. Coach Briggs said it. Can't make the same mistakes they made last week.
One change does affect that special teams for Hopkins. They're going to go with a freshman punter and kicker today, Jamie Sullivan, where on the other side it's an All-American who's going to kick off Spencer Hotaling right here from Susquehanna in Selinsgrove High School. So Susquehanna won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so we'll see the Hopkins offense first. Monday and Adamo back to receive for the Blue Jays as we're getting ready for this Centennial League home opener for Susquehanna. Quinn Donaldson to return along with Monday. And it goes to Monday. Breaking tackles. The freshman giving Hopkins great field position all the way to the Crusader 35-yard line. Now here are your starters. Brandon Cherian, all-league, all-American type player, 986 yards a year ago. The wide receivers are very good, including sophomore Donaldson, who had 5 catches last week for 111 yards and a touchdown. Up front, Colin Egan is the only returner. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. Back out on the field, good news for Susquehanna fans, Joe. We have a flag all the way back, and this is going to give Hopkins the ball at the 24-yard line. Well, that's a huge mistake.
One of the things we talked about was special teams. Covered teams have to do their job, wrap their arms.
4-yard line following the penalty, 1st and 10.
So it's Brady Anderson, the senior quarterback, his first year starting, though. Bradley Monday, out, gets it out to the left-hand side. Nice gain on the first play. Here is your defense.
Right back to
there you see Phil Pecora, 3 tackles a year ago. That one falls incomplete. So now we continue with the defense. There you see Pecora. He's a junior. 13 tackles, 4 for a loss a year ago. There are your linebackers, including Mason Spangler. He returned 6 tackles last week. He did have 10 for a loss a year ago. And then your secondary is experienced. Cody Miller from Towanda High School. Very good, 59 tackles 1 year ago. So it's a hurry-up offense for Hopkins as it's 3rd down. Quarterback keep. Anderson up.
He's out over the 40-yard line.
With a good gain and a first down for the Blue Jays.
Marty, Bob, when they bring that quarterback in, he has to have somebody on him. They can't allow him to run free.
Almost intercepted as they get it out to Donaldson. And with a chance out there was Jameel Hammond, and he almost picked it off.
Anderson did a nice job on the throw, getting it out there, but Anderson was very, very quick with the throw, which allowed the defensive back. He had some time to get there, couldn't quite do it.
So despite the rain, a wet football, Hopkins is going to go to the air quickly. Cherry. Good gain.
Cherry, he's got first down yardage into
About 8 yards,
territory.
another first down as the Blue Jays are inside Crusader territory, and they'll waste little time in getting the ball back to their quarterback, and quickly Steve Briggs calls a timeout.
Timeout, Susquehanna.
Good timeout by Steve Briggs. Again, Johns Hopkins trying to run the hurry up. Anderson doing a nice job on the throwing, short passes, and good running game. Susquehanna's had several opportunities to make some stops. Third down, couldn't do it. Coach Briggs wants time to regroup here.
Not sure if Coach Briggs saw this hurry up last week as the Blue Jays took care of Randolph-Macon easily 42-3. Hopkins comes in, maybe a little bit of a change.
Well, I think, and I was talking to Johns Hopkins SID. He said it was very hot. Randolph-Macon traveled with a limited travel team, and he sort of thought Johns Hopkins wore them down. Didn't think the score was indicative of the game.
So Hopkins has won 5 straight Centennial League titles, and they're ranked in the top 25. Once again, they finished 25th last season. And they're under the direction of Jim Margrave. He's in his 25th season. He's the school's all-time leading winningest coach, 168 wins. He's coach of the year twice in 2011 and 2012. So a lot of background, a good pedigree for this Hopkins team. And as you can see, they're not going to waste any time in getting it into the Crusaders. Anderson back, big rush, intercepted.
Anderson tried to throw it down the field, underthrew it, looked like the receiver was past the defender. But Anderson underthrew it. Here you see the replay. Looked like he just short-armed that ball a little bit, Bob.
And that was C.J. Williams, coach.
Williams did a great job going up after it.
So Susquehanna gets the first early turnover on the interception from Williams, his first of the season. And that will bring out Krusko, the freshman quarterback, who's going to lead out this offense. Good push from the offensive line as they give it to Wade. Let's talk about Tim Wade, the starting running back today. He's from Doylestown, 756 yards a year ago, 6 touchdowns. He did have a touchdown last week against Lycoming. The receivers have a lot of experience, including All-American Denzel Walker out of Baltimore. And up front, Ryan Pierce, he comes over from Cornell. He's 6'4", 290 pounds, and Coach really likes him on the right-hand side.
There are definitely some weapons to work with, Bob.
Krusko, looks like that ball slipped out of his hand.
And that's a good point right there. Tried to make that throw after a fake. I think the ball just got away from him.
So a fast-paced here game early on, as we're only less than 3 minutes into it. Already a turnover for Hopkins. Susquehanna trying to get that and have their own offense drive it down the field.
First third down conversion for the Crusaders.
Here's the blitz. Krusko gets it out. Caught. No flags. Will Howell, touchdown, Susquehanna.
End zone, touchdown, Susquehanna.
Great throw by Krusko. He had Howell up the sideline. Defensive back fell down. Looked like they made him tangled up with their feet. Susquehanna puts an early score on the board.
Hotaling in for the extra point. Blocked as the hold was low, and it remains 6-0 Well, Will Howell, the junior out of Roman Catholic, puts Susquehanna on the board over to 13th ranked Johns Hopkins. When we come back, we'll have more from this Centennial League game. Well, you wouldn't know his team is up 6-0, but Steve Briggs has his Crusaders over the nationally ranked Johns Hopkins up 6-0 after a turnover. So far, so good for Susquehanna.
I'll tell you one of the things when you have a wide receiver, Howell's pretty quick off the line of scrimmage, Bob. You have to try to disrupt his route somehow. And that didn't happen. 6 points for the Crusaders.
So Talling kicks it off as Donaldson will return it up to the 25-yard line. So the drive for Susquehanna, 3 plays, 76 yards, Coach, 54 seconds.
And I'll tell you what, Krusko did a great job delivering the ball. Howell with the catch, good concentration. Defensive back went down. Defense, strong point for Susquehanna. Really, the game right now is in their hands.
They were in last week's game with Susquehanna until 2 costly turnovers. One was a block punt, as Cherry brings it up, and the other was a quick interception from Lycoming, a quick pick 6, and that turned the game. But overall, though, they played better than that.
Big gainer on first down. You can't allow that.
Walters strung out in the backfield. The defense is there.
Pressure up the field by that defense. Walters had to go outside. It gave time for the defense to pursue to the ball. So we're looking at another 3rd down. Defense has to step up.
Coach Briggs talked about that in our pre-week interview. He talked about we have to get off the field on 3rd down and stay on the field on the offensive side. So a big 3rd down here again for the Crusaders D. Low movement, no flag. Anderson has Cherry over the middle. Huge gain inside Crusader territory down at the 41-yard line.
I'll tell you one of the things with Cherry, not only can he rush the ball, you can put him in different places and get the ball to him down the field. And that's exactly what Johns Hopkins did there. You'll see it, Cherry running defensive person with his back turned, didn't know the ball was thrown.
Over 30 yards on that one. So Cherry gets it on the ground now. Nice movement from Brandon Cherry, the junior out of Parkville, Maryland. He's got 12 yards on the ground. Make that 13, another first down for the Blue Jays.
Very elusive running style. Once he's by the line of scrimmage, tough to bring him down.
Ball at the Susquehanna 27.
Averages over 4.5 yards per carry. You can see why he's an all-league and potentially all-American type player. This time off the right side, runs into his own player. Big number 75, Rowan Cade, in the way. If not, he might have got outside, Coach.
Cade pulled, tried to turn some people inside. Couldn't quite do that.
Barry in on the stop for the Crusaders.
Cherry didn't get outside, so we're looking at 2nd down, about 6.
Already, the Crusaders, a couple of their players with hands on their hips, looking a little tired from this hurry-up offense. This is the other running back, Walters, Stuart Walters, who was a Division III. He had the Division III play of the week last week for a run against Randolph-Macon. Here it is again, Coach. Good play inside. Stop by Spangler.
Looking at a 3rd and short, Bob.
Brings up 3rd down and 2 to go.
Cherry and Walters, maybe the best combination of running backs in the nation in Division III, both returning. Both put up good yardage a year ago. This is Walters. He's got speed. Bounces outside and is finally caught for a first down, but inside the 10, first and goal, Hopkins.
Great block on the corner for right there. Great block on the corner. Wide receiver shadowing the defensive back. Allows Walters to turn up the field. Good yardage, 1st and goal.
That was Michael O'Connor, the tight end coach, who had a nice block. And you're right, that's Strung Walters. And once you get those guys outside, I mean, they're going to be tough to catch.
And he had to take the ball from one side of the offense to the other, so that block by O'Connell had to take some time. And O'Connell stuck with that block. Wide receiver, as I mentioned, did a nice job up in the face of the defender. As we had a Susquehanna player walking off under his own power.
Number 28, Pat Cotillo, a junior. 5'7", 175. Oh, I take that back, excuse me. Number 28, Ian Murray. Ian Murray, number 28, a senior. From Tyrone. So here's the handoff to Cherry. I think his knee went down about the 2. They're going to give him just short of the end zone.
I'll tell you what, Bob, the offensive line for Hopkins, good punch off the ball getting that thing up the field. Excellent job. Number 40 for the Crusaders.
Phil Pecora.
Pecora did a great job with grabbing on there.
1 yard to go. Quarterback keeper, touchdown Hopkins, and they're back in this one. Quickly going down the field in 9 plays.
They used that play before, Bob. Excellent job. Make the fake. It's like an option. You have someone that's going to take the running back, but you have to have somebody on that quarterback. Gave the quarterback up, touchdown Hopkins.
So the freshman Sullivan in for the extra point to give Hopkins the lead. And this one is through.
Point after is up.
So just like that, Hopkins answers Susquehanna, and they lead this one 7-6. Our other member of our team, again, Mike Ferlazzo, and he's standing by with Pam Samuelson, the athletic director here. Mike?
Thanks, Bob. I'm down here with Susquehanna Director of Athletics, Pam Samuelson. And Pam, I know last year, certainly a great athletic year here at Susquehanna. In fact, at halftime, you're going to be honored with the President's Trophy from the Landmark Conference. Talk about that year and what it's going to mean going into this season.
Yeah, Mike, it was a terrific year for us as a department. We had 6 championships. We'll honor those championship teams today, and we had 8 runner-up finishes. So out of our 23 sports, 14 first or second place finishes, and kudos to our staff. We have a terrific group of coaches, very experienced, recruiting really quality student athletes that get the job done, and really a terrific year. And we're looking to build on that for this year. We've had a good start to this point this fall, so we're looking forward to another good year.
And one of the programs I know you're looking for a little bit of improvement from is this football team. Talk about your assessment so far, their play this early season and in this ball game.
Right. I walked away from Williamsport last week really encouraged. We've got a good group of kids. We're very young. The nucleus is young. I think this is a team you're going to see develop, but I really love their work ethic. I have the opportunity to see them practice a little bit, and day in and day out, our coaches have done a great job. They work hard, they have a positive attitude, and I think we're going to see this team really develop over the course of the season.
Well, we certainly hope so. Good luck in the season ahead, Pam.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it.
And back up to you, Bob.
Well, I thank Pam Samuelson for inviting us down and taking in this game. Of course, we did order sunny skies and 70-degree weather, Coach, but
yes,
you know, you can't deliver on everything if you're director of athletics, right?
That's exactly right. And as a football coach, you have to learn how to play whatever the weather might be.
Yeah, they're not going to stop it unless there's some lightning in the air, and that is not expected today as well. So the Crusaders offense back on the field. Already 2 scores in this game. We're less than halfway through it. 9 plays, 76 yards for the Blue Jays in 3 minutes and 49 seconds as they counter Susquehanna. And that was Wade up front for a nice gain, about 6 yards on first down.
Rand looked like it was going to be the stretch play, cut it back, picked up good yardage. You're looking at 2nd and 3. If you can pick up 6 or 7 yards on first down, Bob, it really helps your offense.
So nice gain on first down. No. So Hopkins wants the penalty, and finally someone called it.
Flag before the snap.
Let the referees ref. So here's our first call of the game. Jim Tooney, our head referee today. Second down, we'll have to check on that microphone, but it is raining out and things do happen. So on the false start, Steve Briggs and his staff not happy, backs them up, so comes in, was second and short, coach, now it's second and long. That's a difference.
Exactly. Those 5 yards are big for Susquehanna's offense.
More movement.
I think Howell, don't know whether he didn't hear the signal or just, he looked like he was going to run the route, the same route he did when he scored the touchdown.
But these are mistakes, though, against a Hopkins team you can't make.
And Coach Briggs alluded to that earlier before the ball game. And now from second
Crusaders following the second penalty
and 3 or 4, we're looking at second and about 13.
Crusko, the freshman quarterback, in the shotgun. 4 wideouts. Sets up the screen nicely. Wade shoots through up to the 35. Tackle there by Jack Campbell, the sophomore, but they get a lot back. 3rd and short now coming up for Susquehanna.
Milano, great block by Ken Milano. Tackle from Susquehanna to get some of that yardage back and now make the 3rd down. Right here, you see the play. Now we can at least have an attempt by the Crusaders, short attempt, to get that 1st down.
Draw. Wade can't get to the outside, only has a couple, but is popped there head to head, I think. He is down. Tim Wade down as he took a shot to the head from a helmet for one of the Blue Jays players. He's shaken up a bit. He comes off, but more importantly, it's 4th down now. Crusaders forced to punt.
Jack Campbell, middle linebacker, right here, makes a great tackle, wraps up Wade. You have to punt it away. 2 penalties really hurt that succession of plays for Susquehanna.
So Spencer Hotaling, All-American kicker, doing punting duties this year, and right through his arms, he gets it off.
There's an
and a 4-yard punt for Hotaling and a big mistake on special teams.
There's 3 things here, 2 penalties. Now the snap didn't look too bad. Maybe a little high, but he just went right through his hands. Weather related. You have to be able to hold on to that ball.
Conference this afternoon, first quarter. It's Muhlenberg 14, Franklin and Marshall nothing. Also in the first.
So the little things haunting Susquehanna this afternoon. Hopkins offense back on the field in Crusader territory at the 39. Not much rest for the defense, coach, either.
And you know what happens, Bob, in that case?
Nice play. James Kelly, number 78, the freshman, comes over, makes a huge tackle. Loss of 5, excuse me.
I'll tell you what, Kelly did a great job getting over. When you watch tape, when you're having maybe a so-so year, you see a freshman make a play like that, it picks you up and picks the team up.
So Anderson back in the shotgun, 3 wideouts, far side. Up pass again. Almost intercepted in and out of the hands of Williams, who already had an INT today, as they tried to get it out to Finkel, the receiver.
C.J. Williams, nice job on the coverage, did an excellent job going after the ball. Susquehanna with some last-minute replacement.
Good job getting in and out on 3rd and long. They need to get off the field if you're Susquehanna. Incomplete far side intended for Adamo, so Hopkins will be forced to punt. Or will they go for it, Coach?
You know what? I think they'll punt it away, and the reason why I think that as they do come out in punt formation, I don't see a fake here. They're going to try to pin Susquehanna, use field position to their advantage if they can.
So this is Aaron, the punter. Low kick, fair catch by Miller, and we'll take a timeout. 5:04 remaining in the first quarter here at Susquehanna. The Crusaders trail Hopkins by 1.
Ball at the Susquehanna 16, 1st and 10 there. Crusaders.
Davis Rent-A-Car, located at the Penn Valley Airport, is proud to be a sponsor of Susquehanna University football. Welcome back to Lepardo Stadium. We're inside the Sunbury Motors press box. Bob Ide, Joe DeMelfi, only in the first quarter here. 7-6 Hopkins, but Susquehanna did a nice job on 3rd down getting off the field after that bad punt, Coach.
And they have to continue to do that if they want to be competitive in this ball game.
So handoff off the one side goes to Ian Richardson. He's a 5'8" senior. Averages just about 4.5 yards per carry a week ago.
Richardson on the carry for Susquehanna.
Mike Rocca for
with the stop.
Johns Hopkins did an excellent job running that play down.
About 1 second down.
Crisco gonna lay it up. Looks like someone didn't get the play calls. Crisco lands on his back foot. Coach Briggs not happy.
Well, I think one of the things, Harden was in his face. John Harden for Johns Hopkins in Crisco's face. And I don't know whether he thought Howell was going to do an out. The ball went up in the air, and again, you can see the problem handling the football.
So there is a flag down on the field. Didn't see a signal. Well, that's where the flag was, Coach. So now Jim Tooney will tell us what it is.
Looked like it was a hit on the quarterback.
No, I think it's grounding. Grounding, yeah.
You're right.
Receiver not in the receiver was over the middle. The ball went to the outside, and he was in the pocket,
You're
within
right.
the hashes. So that will be a grounding against Susquehanna. And let's see if Hopkins wants to take it or not. I don't think they had a loss of down.
Loss of down really hurt Susquehanna. Good call, Bob.
So ball now back all the way to the 12-yard line. Call it 3rd and 12. Scoreboard not right. 3rd and 12 for the Crusaders. Here comes a big rush. Crisco gets out of it. Gets outside and finally gets out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Good scramble from the freshman quarterback, but he's going to be short of a first down.
Great scramble. Gives the punting team a little room to operate. He was rushed very quickly. Crisco, and then he's able to bounce off. Couldn't quite wrap their arms. Crisco bounces off that tackle. Susquehanna going to punt it away.
Hotaling had some trouble last time. Big rush put on, gets it away. Right into the hands of Bradley Monday.
And we talked about whether Johns Hopkins would punt when they had possession. The exchange puts them in great field position, which is obviously what they were working for.
So the defense for Susquehanna already has a turnover, but they've been on the field a lot this first quarter.
And, you know, Bob, as I said, game wears on. Even in a game where it's a little cool, raining, still can wear that defense out.
Give it to Cherry. Trying to pick his way through a hole. Finally does. Good gain. About 7 yards.
Went to the left side. There was some room to run there. Thought about bouncing outside. Turned it up, picked up good yardage. Johns Hopkins again, Cherry left side. Picks up the first down, Bob.
So a big gain, another first down for Hopkins as the hurry-up offense really taking effect on Susquehanna.
Going to be interesting to see the number of plays run at halftime for Johns Hopkins.
So far, they've run a lot. They have 6 first downs already compared to 1 for Susquehanna, but Susquehanna did have that big play. Cherry weaving his way through, ball on the turf. Susquehanna says they have it, and they do. Crusader ball.
I'll tell you what, obviously that tackle was made from behind. Cherry was up the field. Susquehanna had no initial penetration up the field, gives Cherry a lot of room to run, but as we're going to see here, turnover as he turns up right there. Great hit from behind.
Susquehanna will take over.
Didn't see a number, Coach. We saw an 8 there, so didn't see a number from the backside. That could have been Mike Statuti, the senior defensive end. Looked like it was covered by Ian Murray before. So another turnover for Hopkins.
I think you're right. From the defensive end position, he came in after Cherry got up the field, made a great hit.
Susquehanna, though, needs some offense. They need to get out of this exchange of field position.
What they need, Bob, is to continue a drive. We talked about converting third downs on both sides of the ball. They need to convert some third downs if they run into that situation. Move the football.
Susquehanna 1 of 3 on third downs this afternoon. John Hopkins 3 of 4. So now let's see what the play call is on 2nd and long. Trying to set up a screen to their fullback.
Safe pass. Krusko did a nice job getting the ball there. Didn't pick up a lot of yardage. We're looking at a 3rd and about 6 as we have a flag downfield.
That was Pat Murtha on the reception, the fullback. He's a senior, but there is a flag down, as Coach mentioned. Already 3 penalties on Susquehanna's side. This one goes against Hopkins.
That helps with moving those chains, keeping the defense off the field. Probably had a hold by a wide receiver.
Personal foul call, Coach. So finally now, Crusaders up to the 34, at least some breathing room now. Let's see if they can get some kind of attack going against Hopkins and keep their defense off the field. Wade, who was hurt before a little bit, shaken up, comes through for about 4 yards. Now last year they played pretty close, Coach. 24-7 was the score down at Johns Hopkins. So a defensive battle throughout the game before the Blue Jays broke it open in the second half. So Susquehanna knows how to play against this team.
One of the things we look at, he tried to go outside, Wade, then turned it up, picked up decent yardage for first down play.
The last win by Susquehanna against Hopkins, how about back in 1977? Of course, they were in the MAC for a long time. Here's the reverse.
Hopkins very good defensively, Bob. They do not leave their responsibilities. Backside to the reverse, stayed at home, picked up a couple yards. 3rd down and about 3 for Susquehanna.
That was Kwanye Hale who had the ball,
third down and
the junior wide receiver. So at least it's manageable now for the Crusaders. Under a minute here to play in the first quarter. Wade shoots through, finds a little gap, just enough for a first down. And just over the 44-yard line, near the 45, but the chains will move.
Wanted to hit that off the left side. Wade did a nice job taking it back to the right side, right here, picking up that first down.
And that should do it. We're going to wind the clock out and call this first quarter a good one for Susquehanna. 2 turnovers from Hopkins, a touchdown on the board for Susquehanna. But it's the Blue Jays who lead this Centennial League opener Alaska Company has enjoyed serving our customers for more than 35 years. We're expanding our business to give the people of northeastern and central Pennsylvania a greater selection of products, from fireplaces and stoves to fire pits and tables, gas logs, electric fireplaces, and outdoor furniture. Our new store, located on Bernie Avenue in Music, in front of the Kmart, offers 11 different highly regarded manufacturers to choose from. We are back at the Sunbury Motors press box. Bob Joe DeMelfi, live on My Network TV. It's Susquehanna University football. It's the Centennial League opener against 13th ranked Johns Hopkins, and Susquehanna has the ball, putting a nice little drive together, and they trail this one 7-6. After the first quarter, though, I think if you're the Crusaders, you're happy to come out of that.
I'll tell you what, they're doing a nice job with the short pass, able to rush the ball a little bit, and continue to do that. Krusko doing a okay job handling that offense for the Crusaders.
Four-man front for Hopkins. Krusko looking downfield. Had a wide receiver wide open as he gets popped and nailed
Krusko off the scramble
by Brady Watts.
I'll tell you what, Watts delivered a good blow. Krusko did a nice job going to the corner. Looked like he wanted to throw, didn't really feel comfortable, picked up a couple yards, make his third down manageable. I'm impressed with Bob with the freshman so far. He's handling the game fairly well.
He did have Walker wide open over the middle.
Didn't want to make that throw because I think he felt it was across his body at that point, and he pulled it back down.
Absolutely, understand that. So back into the eye they move. Hopkins showing blitz, they do, and try a draw. Wade shoots through. He's just 5'8". He was able to get under the big guys. They'll be about a half a yard short of a first down. So fourth down coming up in inches.
They run this sprint draw, lead draw, and Wade almost picked it up. Although they're going to take a look at it, it looks like he is a little short, Bob.
And we'll take an official.
So they'll take a officials look at this one. Well, last year's the Crusaders offense averaged over 22 points per game, 127 on the ground, 187 through the air, 315 total offense. And the only thing they really lost on their offensive side was their quarterback. So they had their guys returning on the outside. They had the running backs back, but it depends how the quarterback plays.
Exactly right. We talk about the guy that drives the bus in coaching circles. If you can find one that can do that, could be very successful.
So just short. Fourth down call now for Susquehanna. Looks like they're going to go for it.
I don't think there's any doubt there, Bob. They're on the other side of the 50.
Your defense is playing okay. They have 2 turnovers.
I think one of the things you think about here is don't handle the ball more than you have to, which comes down to probably a quarterback sneak. Want a good punch from your offensive line, close up the gaps, which they've done.
Krusko come try to draw them offside with a hard count. And finally, I think Steve Briggs is going to call a timeout. So the Crusaders call a timeout. 13:02 on the clock, and we're in the second quarter. So far, yardage, of course, going to Hopkins, as you might expect in total yards. They have 85 on the ground as Hopkins, just 42 for Susquehanna. But it's the Crusaders' defense, though, that has really played well, getting those 2 turnovers.
I think there's a couple of things here. Number one, Bob, you don't want to put your defense at a disadvantage. I understand that. Number two, it's early in the ball game. Coach Briggs, after the hard count, decides he's going to go ahead and punt it away and see if they can get some field position and defensively play well so they can get the ball back.
So tallying on, good snap. Let's see if it can pin them deep. And nope. There was a guy down there for Susquehanna who got a hand on it, but wet turf and the ball just taking a bad bounce, and they were unable to get it down is Jason Russo down there from New Jersey. Just
Ball hit right at the 10 instead of kicking back like you'd wanted to. Rolled into the end zone, so Johns Hopkins starts their offense at the 20.
So here's back is Anderson. Their senior quarterback is making his first start of the year, and they give it off to Waters, off the right-hand side. Good gain.
One of the things you look for defensively is some movement up the field by your defensive front. Makes it tough for an offense to operate when they have people upfield. Susquehanna at this point giving up some yardage on that first down.
Anderson keeps it close to a first down up to the 30, and we'll see what that is. But before we do, let's head down to Mike Ferlazzo, who's standing by with a special guest.
I am indeed Bob Ide. I've got Gabby Alguire here, a Susquehanna sophomore who did the rare double last year. She was an All-American on the field as a javelin thrower, finishing 7th at the Division III National Meet, and also an academic All-American as an accounting major. Gabby, how'd you manage to do that?
It was very tough, actually. After classes, I always had to do my work instead of just taking a nap or something. I had to manage my time very well during the year.
Well, you came here from Tunkhannock. Talk a little bit about the decision to come to Susquehanna.
I just looked for the academics first because that's the most important. And then after I decided on the academics, I looked at the javelin and the javelin coach. And the business program here is really good, and the track team is very good. And I really enjoy being here and participating in track and field.
Talk a little bit about that throwing coach, Chris Delbaugh. I know he's got quite a legacy here in the javelin, and the fact that you've added to it as their latest All-American. Talk about him as coaching.
Yeah, he's very confident. He always has confidence in me when I don't have it in myself, and he just really helps me with the confidence and knowing that I could throw far.
Well, obviously, you threw it far at the national meet. Congratulations, Gabby.
Thank you.
Back up to you, Bob.
Cool. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations to Gabby on that. Down on the field, another first down for Hopkins as the time ticks down here in the second quarter. And Walter's now getting a majority of the carries, but it is Cherry back in, number 20, who will stand next to the senior quarterback. Pass long, looking deep, and they got him. It is a catch on the far side, as it's Ryan Finkel, the junior.
Finkel did a great job here on the pattern. Even better, Anderson did an excellent job on the throw. Defensive back lost his place, had his back turned to the quarterback, Bob. Never looked once the throw was completed.
Susquehanna not really set on defense as they give it off to Cherry. And Hopkins really doing well with his high-tempo offense, Coach.
And I'll tell you what, I think you can start to see a little bit of the defense lagging, not reacting as quickly as they did earlier in the ball game. They've been on the field an awful lot. Hopkins running a lot of offensive plays.
Oh, last year this team averaged over 40 points per game in winning their Centennial League title. Cherry bounces outside, picks up a block from his quarterback. Williams says, I've seen enough of that. Drags him out of bounds, but not after another first down at the 15-yard line.
Again, offensive line doing an excellent job for Johns Hopkins, getting a punch off the ball. Once Cherry gets up the field, I've said before, very, very difficult to bring down. Picks up a big first down.
Susquehanna, who last week gave up 368 total yards to a very physical Lycoming team, is finding it hard to stop Hopkins in this offense right now. And I think they want the clock reset. So James Toomey, the referee's talking to Steve Briggs. They want their clock reset to something, so Hopkins is out ready to go on the 14-yard line.
I'll tell you, if you want to make a substitution defensively, this offense makes it really tough. And at some point, you'd like to put maybe your heavy defense in, as they call it.
Absolutely.
Once they get inside the 20, but as I said, very difficult to do.
Cherry already 71 yards on the ground. This is Denicio Roman, the big sophomore running back, who picks up a couple yards. And right back at it,
Roman on the carry.
the
Gain
Blue
10,
Jays.
Second down. Again, Roman.
Roman again, this time to the 5, getting close to a first down. And we'll see if they give it to him. He's just outside the 5. And to get the first down, you have to get on the 5. So 3rd and short looks like coming up.
Ball to the 6.
But again, no defensive opportunities.
Susquehanna defensively has to think about the quarterback keeping the ball off that fake inside, which Johns Hopkins has done effectively the last 2 or 3 times. Let's see if that happens.
They blitz. He's stopped by McLaughlin, the junior, but 1st and goal now for Hopkins.
Roman
right back at it.
To the 1, 1st and goal.
Roman, touchdown. Hopkins.
Roman again.
And I'll tell you what, Bob, there were 2 players
Touchdown, Johns Hopkins.
running to get in and then had to turn around and come back defensively, and that's what we were talking about. Tough to put a substitution in the ball game. Touchdown, Johns Hopkins.
I can barely get a breath in. I don't. If you're Susquehanna's defense, you can't make any changes. You can barely even get set.
Sullivan on for the point after.
What the offense does, number one, it tends to make you eat up your timeouts defensively so you don't have anything left.
That is up and good. 9 minutes, 5
So the kick is good, 80 yards. And another Hopkins touchdown, and they extend their lead now by 8 over Susquehanna.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week. Brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
We are back at Lepardo Stadium on the campus of Susquehanna University. Bob-eyed Joe DeMelfi inside the Sunbury Motors press box, and there are some fans who came out to see the Crusaders today, umbrellas in hand, and see the band over there too in their parkas. But their team now trailing 14-6 to number 13, Johns Hopkins. The scoring drive, 11 plays, 80 yards, coach, just 3:56 off the clock.
And I'll tell you what, as much as it seems like Hopkins has dominated, Susquehanna down 1 score and a 2-point conversion.
Hale up
Hale
on the return as we have a Hopkins player shaken up, and the ball will be just over the 20-yard line at the 21, so that's where Susquehanna now. So, Coach, what do the Crusaders have to do on offense a little bit better than they have in the first quarter and a half?
They're doing a decent job completing that short ball, but I think they need to pick up, 1st and 2nd down, need to pick up good yardage, which they haven't always done, to make that 1st down possible, because they have to keep their defense at this point off the field.
So Crisco on now, the freshman quarterback. Pure rookie. Inside handoff, and not much there as Hopkins takes down Wade one more time. Now Crisco so far, Coach, 4 of 5, 85 yards and a touchdown. Playing well, but not him.
Well, I think one of the things you're looking for is big play, and they simply have not had it up to this point. The other thing is now they're forced into a 2nd and 8. If you're the offensive coaching staff at Susquehanna, you're trying not to take a big chance. You're only down by 1 score, but you have to move the football. Short passes, a couple of fakes off of play action. I'll tell you what, a good play call, tipped. Tipped by Johns Hopkins. And
Mike Longo,
Mike Longo got his hand up. Crisco couldn't get it over. 3rd down and long.
I think they're going to have to extend the field a little bit, Coach. They have to throw the ball down the field a little bit.
I think you always have to stretch the field, because if you don't, Johns Hopkins, strong defensively, going to start loading up on you.
And you don't want Crisco feeling like all the game's on him. because they do have talent around him. They just need to get other guys the ball. Here comes the blitz. Crisco feels it, steps up, and can't get out of it.
I'll tell you what, Bob, if they're going to bring that, you have to try to go to the corners. You have to sprint a little bit, give him an opportunity to at least to throw the ball. Again, very short, 3 and out. And you're going to see it here. He steps back, didn't even have time to set.
Crisco pulled down short of the first.
Pratty and Longo
on to punt.
on the stop for Hopkins, so tallying in again to punt.
Longo, a disruptive force for Johns Hopkins that series.
They went after the ball, and there's a flag. Monday has it, but this one may be coming back depending on the call. And so Talling went down on the backside. Of course, Lycoming blocked a punt last week, so you can see Hopkins trying to do the same thing, put pressure on him. And I think it's going to be a first down for Susquehanna.
Help the offense, move the ball, and they got the call. Hopkins put a big rush on. One of the problems many times with a punt rush is you don't go after the ball, you go at the kicker. You have to go where the ball's going to be.
So a big break again for Susquehanna. They need to start taking advantage of these because they're not going to happen all afternoon long. Just 44 rushing yards so far for Susquehanna, 85 through the air, but over 70 of it came on one play, the first touchdown of the game for Susquehanna to Howell.
As I said, Bob, if you get Crisco to the corner, he has an option. I can throw, I can run. Keep trying to run that ball inside. They go to left side, try to run off tackle. Nothing there. And I'll tell you why there was nothing there. Very, very strong play by Harlan.
John Harden, coach, a 6'2", 240.
And he was up the field. I mean,
there.
Just tough to do. Now we're looking at a second and about 12.
Crisco played at Don Bosco Prep a year ago. Was not the starter at Prep, but still had a good year. Played in a couple games. 266 yards as a senior at Prep. Draw, Hopkins there, nowhere to go, and not faking them out at all.
Well, yeah, I think one of the things now you have to say as Watts, Brady Watts just closed in on that draw, number 11 for Johns Hopkins. I think what you have to say to yourself is, let's try to get the ball in the corner with the quarterback, let him throw it. They're going nowhere. As there you see Watts close in on that draw.
Well, Hopkins plays a 4-4-3 defense. Very unusual to see in college. And that's why I think Susquehanna needs to get the ball downfield a little bit more. So 3rd and long again, and you saw it a couple seconds ago, 2 of 6 Susquehanna today on 3rd downs. Crisco looking downfield. He's got a guy. He's got Walker. There's the big play that we wanted, and they have it inside Hopkins territory.
I'll tell you what, gave Walker a chance to run a route. He ran away from his man. Faked the draw here, which pulled the defense up just a little. Excellent job by the offensive line. 3-man rush, 8 men in coverage. Crisco does a great job getting the ball there.
Just about 30 yards through the air. So another big pass play, and Susquehanna has it going.
We have motion on Susquehanna, but Johns Hopkins decided to go 3 rush, 8 defend. Next time they have that kind of situation, I don't think you'll see that. I think you'll see a rush by Johns Hopkins.
So a penalty on Susquehanna. That's their 4th already today.
And Bob, again, we go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15.
And that's tough for the freshman quarterback.
Hurts you offensively.
Quick hitter, tried to get it to the tight end. Pasco, good play call, just not executed right. It goes incomplete.
Made the fake and then tried to hit the tight end. As you said, Bob, execution ball was a little high. Couldn't quite grab onto it.
But I like the play call, Coach. On 1st down, instead of running, you're mixing it up a little bit. Now you're going to get Hopkins thinking a little bit.
Well, I think the other thing is you have Pasco, who's 6'4", 6'5", good target, You want him to have some touches during the course of a game.
How tough is Hopkins to beat? They've won 35 out of 36 regular season games so far as Wade goes outside. And it's a run of games for the Blue Jays that started back in 2010
Wade gains to the
against Susquehanna. They're 35-1, Coach, in their last 36 games.
I tell you what, Coach McGrath has done a great job there. They've been a factor in Division III for the last 10, 15 years. Made playoffs last year, lost to Wesley by a point or two in the first round. But they are a program that definitely has stamped their identity in Division III.
Here comes the blitz on third down. You talked about it, Coach. Crisco pressured. Has a guy. Good defensive stop back there, trying to look for Walker. And that was the safety, Jack Toner, the sophomore, who was all over that receiver.
I'll tell you what, excellent job by Toner. Crisco, here's what he gives you. Breaks away from the rush. They tried to come after him, and I'll tell you what, good possibility of a play there. So that's what Crisco gives you. Again, get him to the corner, let him do some things with his abilities. We're looking at a 4th and about 12.
Looks this time, Coach Briggs wants to go for it. They have one timeout left in the half. Crisco back. He's got time to throw, and he's got a guy. And he's got a guy. Walker's going to go in for a Susquehanna touchdown, 41 yards.
I tell you what, Walker, great catch. The defender for Johns Hopkins took a chance, went up and tried to knock it, got up a little too early. Walker kept his eye on the ball. Crisco with a decent throw, touchdown.
So Hotaling back in. The holder, Argerio, looks like the backup kicker. Last one was no good. This one is through. So a 41-yard pass play to Crisco to Walker, and Susquehanna's back in this one, 14-13.
Here you're going to see it, Crisco, straight drop back from the direct snap. There's the throw. Went up, the defender went up.
And the defender couldn't get him, Coach, and he goes in for a touchdown. We come back. Hopkins has the ball back, 4:19 remaining in the half. Your Saturday night is booked with college football on Fox 56. Doubleheader action starts at 4 when Illinois takes on the Washington Huskies, followed by the UCLA Bruins battling the Texas Longhorns. See the action unfold today beginning at 4 on Fox 56. We are back at Lepardo Stadium, and Crusaders trail by 1. Mike Ferlazzo's down on the field, and he has some perspective on what he just saw. Mike?
Hi, guys. Denzel Walker, of course, who just had that touchdown reception for Susquehanna, a Baltimore native, so probably nobody on this team wants to beat Johns Hopkins, which is also from Baltimore, more than he does, of course, the leading receiver for the Crusaders a year ago. Back to you.
Very good point, Mike, and of course, a former sports information director would know that stuff, right?
Exactly.
He's full of knowledge down there, full of knowledge. So Talling tees it up. Hopkins has 2 back to receive, and O'Talling kicks this one out of bounds. A rare kick out of bounds for an All-American candidate. So good field position now for Hopkins. Okay, you're the Crusaders defense. How do you stop Hopkins now, especially with their up-tempo?
I'll tell you what I would do. I'd let them run 2 plays quickly, and I'd call a timeout. You have some timeouts to use. I wouldn't get you. Once they set that tempo, Bob, it's tough to break. So that's one of the ways you can do that. They've run it very well also.
Crusaders drive last time, 10 plays, 79 yards, 4-4-6 off the clock. So it gave their defense time to rest. This is Walters. She has a couple tackles and knocked out of bounds, about a 3-yard gain.
At the 39-yard line.
One of the things defensively you have to wrap up. That's tough to do sometimes in this type of weather. Still raining a little bit.
Second down,
you have to wrap that offensive back up, bring him down with the tackle. Can't allow him to run out of tackles.
Walters, 87 yards a week ago, did have one of a long run of 34 yards and shoots through. Got some nice feet in there, Coach, and
Walters
picks up a
leaves
first
ahead.
down.
I'll tell you what,
Oh,
both
45
backs
to
have,
the
Jerry and
46.
Walters.
That's
They're
first
able
down
to
yardage for the
change. And
Blue
one of the
Jays.
things that helps here with the weather is this is turf, so it's not as much as a regular sod you'd have some mud. That's not the case here.
Hopkins last week, 451 total yards, and that average, how about 6.3 per play? You, as a coach, you live with that, right?
I definitely could live with that.
Anderson, plenty of time, out to the flat, to Walters, who goes out of bounds.
Anderson's
And I'll
pass
tell you
complete.
what, C.J. Williams did an excellent job leveling off, not diving
he's out
at
of
to make the
bounds.
tackle,
Williams on
forcing
coverage
Walters
for
outside.
Susquehanna.
Here you're going to see it. Pass to Walters. There you and the leveling off. Now we have a.
I don't know if we had a penalty or what. The ball back at the 46, second down. Moving up front as Anderson gets nailed. And it looked like the defensive
Anderson
end,
off the scramble. Flags on the
Pecora,
play.
might have been offsides.
I'll
Or,
tell you-
excuse me, that was Statuti.
I'll tell you what happens. You get a little tired defensively, you start making those mental mistakes. That was Barry on the tackle.
Hopkins 166 yards on the ground this afternoon, 53 through the air.
Tell you-
So, and 12 first downs.
I'll tell you what you have to feel good about if you're Susquehanna. All of that, and you're 1 point down.
That's right. Well, they got two key turnovers, one big interception that led to the first touchdown play of the game, and then
Ball to the
big pass
Susquehanna
play
49
in
following
the second
penalty.
quarter. Cut the lead to
Second
one.
down.
Coming up on the 3-minute mark here at Lepardo Stadium at Susquehanna University. Centennial League action here on My Network TV. Cherry trying to get outside, cannot. Barry going for the ball, and they push him back.
Hand off to Cherry. He's
Cherry tried to go left and then all the way to
Run
the
down
right
by
side.
Jim
Barry
Barry.
did a nice job getting over. One thing you have to be careful of, once you start going after the ball, if you don't get it and he breaks away, you're in trouble. So he's the
Gain of a
kind of
yard,
back
brings
you
up
want to
3rd and
bring
4
down.
for Johns Hopkins.
Clock's still running. Hopkins now really not in that hurry up too much, but a third down again. Third down today, 4:05 for the Blue Jays. Anderson back, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. No
Anderson's
flag
pass
down after
incomplete.
that as Murray put a hit on their big tight end.
Boone Lewis Jr.
Tried to run the
intended
route
receiver.
across the
And
middle.
it's fourth down. The punting
There you
unit
see
is on
Murray
for
with
Blue
the hit.
Jays.
Ball on the ground. Tried to go to the tight end on that.
Like Falumas,
Loomis,
a backup quarter tight end. So it goes incomplete. Miller back. Low kick. It goes out of bounds for Hopkins. So
Hopkins punt will go
2:02
out of
remaining in
bounds.
this half. Susquehanna is the
Susquehanna
ball.
24,
One timeout
yard
remaining,
line.
trailing by one.
First and 10 there
Ball
for
deep in their own
Sabres.
territory at the 24.
a couple of things here. Number one, 2 minutes till half, as you mentioned. Susquehanna offensively wants a little movement so they can use that clock up. If they can score in the process, great. What they don't want to do is turn it over and let Johns Hopkins take it in for an easy touchdown at this point.
Crisco, 153 yards through the air today, 6 of 10. 2 touchdowns, 43 on the ground for Susquehanna. They get it out in the flat. The clock was still rolling. Casey Crody, the senior wide receiver.
Crisco's pass caught.
tried to make a fake. Back what looks like he went the wrong way, and then threw that quick pass, but there was nothing there. Defensive back right on top of the wide receiver.
Steve Briggs not in any hurry of calling a timeout.
Brings up 2nd and 12.
They're going to stop the clock, and they're going to try to reset the clock one more time. "26 sacks given up by the Crusaders a year ago. Playing well, though, today and giving their freshman quarterback some time.
I think one of the things, Bob, when we look at this is timeouts that Johns Hopkins has, and it's 2nd and 12 now as they're working on the clock. Referee winding the clock.
I think he wants it down to 152.
Right.
I think that's what they're telling him. Wind the clock down to 152. And someone may be getting a little quick lunch break. And there you see Crisco's numbers. On the ground, Wade has 11 carries for 27 yards. Hale has 1 carry, and Richardson has 1 yard on 1 carry as well. And that is for Susquehanna.
Yeah, they wound it down to 150. As I said, plenty of time for Hopkins to do some damage here. So Susquehanna has to take care of the ball as Crisco's going to his right.
Nice pitch and pass. Howell on the outside stops the clock, but it's going to be 3rd and short.
There are a couple of things here, Bob. Number one, it was a good play call. Number two, the route, I think, was a little shorter than they wanted it. We're looking at, there you see the route. Good job by Williams keeping inside, making that catch. Good throw by Crisco. I'm sorry, by Howell. Good catch by Howell. Crisco doing an excellent job when he gets to the corner.
It's 3rd down. It's 3rd down. That's wrong on the scoreboard. 3rd and 7. Hopkins showing the blitz. They do. He gets it out quickly as Crisco, and knocked down is Walker, but they have a 1st down. Nice catch.
I'll tell you what, great catch by Walker. Good throw by Crisco. I'm starting to become a little more impressed with him as the game goes on.
And he's feeling more comfortable, and you can tell right now. A couple big plays, and that will do it. You have good receivers out there. Trust them. So up quickly at Crusaders. No rush. Over to Walker. He tries to get out of bounds, and only a 1-yard gain.
Tried to run the route real shallow underneath, and nothing there. I think the other thing defensively, when they run that slot with Susquehanna, with Walker in the slot, you have to put some pressure on him. You can't play him off.
Bringing Crisco out to the outside. This lobs it out of bounds. Good play by the freshman. Stops the clock. We're under a minute to play here in the 1st half.
Crisco with time.
No run so far on this drive that began at the 24. Coming up at the half, we'll talk to football alum Nick Lepardo and also talk to Susquehanna University President Jay Lemons and our own Aaron Dugan from the Fox 56 Sports Show. Went right down the block here, down to Selinsgrove to check out their field hockey team with Coach Kaiser. So that's coming up at the half on the Blaze Alexander halftime report. So 3rd down, 4 of 9 today. Susquehanna on 3rd down, and gives us good time now. Coach Briggs calls timeout.
Susquehanna.
Probably a good timeout here. Don't want to rush it too much, because if it goes incomplete, you give Hopkins a chance.
Exactly. Goes incomplete.
Late in the 2nd quarter, Moravian 21.
The other part of that, Bob, is you make a play here and pick up the 1st down, a pretty good yardage. Now you're talking about maybe being able to do something with 35 seconds left before halftime. So good call by Coach Briggs with the timeout.
These teams first met in 1950 as Hopkins won the first meeting. In 1951, Susquehanna won their first meeting. They met to 1953, then came back for a couple years in 1970 and 78, and then finally this rivalry started to heat up a little bit when Susquehanna joined the Centennial Conference in 2010. That coincided with the Crusaders and other sports going to the Landmark Conference. That was the development of the Landmark Conference. So 10 meetings between these two teams. John Hopkins has won 8.
See what the Susquehanna offensive coaches have come up with here, Bob. We have a 3rd and 9, 48 seconds left in the first half.
Swing it out to Wade. He stays in bounds. We're going to call him out of bounds. So on that 3rd down, it goes short.
Cruz pass complete.
I'll tell you what,
Wade on 3rd down.
Keith Corliss for Johns Hopkins, great job pursuing that halfback, flared in the flat.
Now this is where you need Hotaling. Everything needs to go right on this play. Barry is the long snapper. Hotaling gets it off. Nice high hanger. Almost hit a Hopkins player. It might have.
Rolled out of bounds,
Wow.
and luckily.
Traveling out of bounds.
Wow, that would have been a huge break for Susquehanna.
One of the things you tell your people on when somebody's punting and you're on defense is make sure you know where the ball is. Although defender was trying to block, you have to be able to find the ball. Johns Hopkins, 29 seconds left. First half.
There you see Steve Briggs. Looks like the rain has tailed down a little bit. Some of the umbrellas being put away. 3 timeouts remaining for Hopkins. They're content to leave it on the ground. They
Cherry on the carry.
head over to Brandon Cherry, the junior out of Maryland. And looks like Hopkins will wind this one down, take a 1-point lead into the halftime. But the Crusaders and Coach Briggs have to be happy about what's going on the scoreboard.
Tell you, one of the things you have to talk to your defense, let them get some rest, get them hydrated during the halftime. And then offensively, try to come up with something with Krusko, and he's doing very well right now.
So Susquehanna holds serve with Johns Hopkins. They've traded touchdowns. The only difference, a missed extra point from the Crusaders, and that can't make Coach Briggs happy. But he will go in and I think maybe see if they found something. Mike Ferlazzo now down with the Susquehanna coach. Mike?
Steve, I guess as the first half goes, you're down by 1 against the Centennial Conference favor. You got to be pleased with the half.
Yeah, but we're down by 1. We had chances. We still made a lot of mistakes. We got to correct some things. Obviously, we're in the game, but we got a long way to go.
But a lot of good things. Your defense forced a couple turnovers, and you got some good performance from your quarterback too.
Yes, very good. A long way to go. We got to correct some things.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Back to you.
Spoken like a true coach. Not happy with everything, but he's got something to build on, though.
And I'll tell you what, in a hurry to get to the dressing room for halftime because he's going to make some of those changes.
Well, at the half, it's the 13th ranked Blue Jays over Susquehanna. We'll have our halftime presentation coming up after this.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week, brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
I'm at Nicholas A. Lopardo Stadium, where Johns Hopkins leads Susquehanna 14-13 in the Crusader home opener. Mike Ferlazzo back here along with Nicholas A. Lopardo as we're here at Nicholas A. Lopardo Stadium. And Nick, obviously a Susquehanna philanthropist, former chairman of the board, and also known as Coach Lopardo along the sidelines right now for this Crusader football team. Nick, I know you have great passion for Susquehanna football. Talk about what that's meant for you and your career in life.
Oh, it's been everything for me. I learned so much while I was here, played for a great man in Coach Jim Garrett. Actually got to talk to him last night, which was really fun. And playing this game really taught me a lot about how to compete. And I think in my business career, that really, really helped me. So I owe a lot to Susquehanna University.
Nick, very successful in financial banking. Nick, you were here, obviously, when Susquehanna, very successful program in the early 60s, national power. And, talk about how important it is to pass along that tradition to the current crop of Crusaders and how you go about doing that.
Oh, no question about it, Mike. It's, when I talk to the guys, I always talk to them about what it means to wear the S and what it means to have that orange. And, you got to take pride in what you're doing. And we have a lot of pride in what this program represents. It's had great years. We obviously are a little bit on the downside now, but we've put together lots of plans, and I think this crop of young freshmen has demonstrated that we will be back. So it means a lot to wear the S.
Well, I know you wore the S when it was Amos Alonzo Stagg Field here. Much different stadium. Talk about the fact that you've built a landmark stadium here, if you will. Certainly a hallmark for recruiting football players in Nicholas A. Lepardo Stadium, and all the additions that you've made through the years as well.
Yeah, well, we're really proud of this facility. And as I go around the league, it measures up to any place we play. And, my 15-year-old grandson was a little baby when we put the shovel in the ground right over there on the other side. He's now at Phillips Andover, so it's been a long while. And we try and improve things every year. This year we painted the goalposts for the first time, got new pads, some new signage that you see in the stadium. Obviously I'm in the apparel business, so I try and make sure the guys are dressed right when they travel. Because it means a lot. How you look and how you act and how you carry yourself is important. And it's important to them when they leave the school and leave this and go out into the business world. So we're pretty proud of this. I guess they call it the Nick. So, it just gives you a lot of pride when you come here on a Friday afternoon and sit on the bench and look around. And I know my dad and mom would be really proud.
Well, they should be very, very proud by both you and this stadium that you've created. Nick, congratulations on that, and good luck to the Crusaders in the second half.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it.
And we'll be back with Susquehanna President Jay Levens after this. Back at halftime here at Nicholas A. Lepardo Stadium on the campus of Susquehanna University, where our halftime score is Johns Hopkins 14 and Susquehanna 13. And along with me now is Susquehanna University President Jay Levens, who just had some business to take care of out there at halftime on the big Orange S, and that was accepting the Landmark Conference President's Trophy for the All Sports Award. And Nick, talk about that and how pleasing that is to you, because you were one of the founding members of this, and also still, I guess, the chair of the President's Board of the Landmark Conference.
The Landmark has been a special effort done by some great partners throughout the Mid-Atlantic states, a wonderful group of institutions that have a shared philosophy and values around athletics. And one of those athletic values is that we have well-rounded athletic teams. And so we created the President's Cup as a way of recognizing the top performing school. And so I'm really pleased that it's back here at Susquehanna. And we had a great year with, I think, 6 championships in total. 8 teams finished second in the conference and 1 team finished third. They only count the top 15 sports, and so we had a great year and really proud of our student athletes and grateful to our coaches.
Well, you have a unique situation as a president and actually as a school, and the fact that you're in 2 conferences, though, too, the Landmark Conference and here in football, the Centennial Conference. And, what's that like now, bringing an institution like a Johns Hopkins to Susquehanna, and how proud you are of being in that Centennial Conference in football?
Well, we are. We also play women's golf in the Centennial Conference, another tremendous group of institutions. Many of our most important, longest friendly rivals, Gettysburg, Muhlenberg, Dickinson, Franklin and Marshall, great institutions. And as you say, it's terrific to have Johns Hopkins here, and I'm glad we're giving them a good game.
Yeah, certainly, and you certainly understand the Division III student-athlete experience, being a runner at Nebraska Wesleyan back in the day. Talk about that and what athletics means to the students here at Susquehanna.
Well, athletics is fundamentally a part of the educational experience for our students, and what one learns, whether it is on the football field or the soccer pitch or the softball diamond or the swimming pool or track and cross country or whatever it is, a great place to help our young people come to know what it means to be a part of something larger than themselves, to learn the benefits of discipline, and the Division III philosophy really keeps it nested in the right perspective.
And just so everybody knows, Jay Levens has continued his running career too, because he just completed his first marathon not too long ago, though I guess you're laid up a little bit right now.
I'm a little on the disabled list, but no, athletics has been a very important part of my life. I grew up in the home of 2 teachers, and one of those was a coach, and so it's always been an important part of my life, and I know how much it is an important part of the lives of more than a third of our students here at Susquehanna find their way into intercollegiate athletics.
Well, Jay, it's always good to catch up with you. Good to see you out here, and let's go to the second half.
Well, thank you all very much for being here, and we hope it's an entertaining second half.
Okay. Susquehanna President Jay Lemons, and we will be back with the second half following this.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week. Brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
Welcome back to Lepardo Stadium on the campus of Susquehanna University. I want to thank Mike Perlazzo for those great interviews at halftime. I want to thank Susquehanna for having us today. Bob Ide, Joe DeMelfi inside the Sunbury Motors press box. And, Coach, we take a look at that first half. 14-13 the score. Susquehanna, 2 big turnovers in that game, and in that first half, I should say, but they're in the game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. They make some adjustments at halftime. Johns Hopkins, number 1, has put pressure on with the rush. Susquehanna doing a better job on the corner than they are dropping straight back. So I think maybe we could see a little more of that second half.
Well, let's take a look at the halftime stats, and they, overwhelmingly you look at them and 14-13, but the stats play out. 224 total yards for Johns Hopkins, 211 for Susquehanna. The big one that stands out for me, 171 for Johns Hopkins on the ground.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that Susquehanna, coming in with the strong defense, they have to do a better job of stopping the run here in the second half.
And total time of possession, Hopkins runs that up-tempo, but 16:48, just what the doctor ordered for Susquehanna. Here's their first touchdown. Right after a interception, Howell on the pass from Cresco, 70 yards, and that was 6-0 Susquehanna.
Yeah, and one of the things Cresco had time to throw. He took it straight back there. Howell with a good catch, keeping his eye on the ball.
It's 14-6 before Susquehanna put a drive of their own in the second quarter. This one, Cresco to Walker for 31 yards.
Good protection by the offensive line, gave Walker time to escape from the defensive back. Cresco makes a good throw, and here he makes a good throw.
Yep. And this is Walker again, 41-yard pass on a 10-play drive, 79 yards, and that's where the score is 14-13 at the half. Both teams are, I should say, one team is on the field. We're awaiting the Blue Jays to come out. Some other stats for Susquehanna: Tim Wade on the ground, 11 rushes, 27 yards, just 2.5 average. Kawan Hale has a rush for 3 yards. Ian Richardson, just 1 yard on 1 reception. Through the air, as you might expect, Walker, 4 catches, 77 yards. Howell, 3 catches, 80 yards. They both have a touchdown. Tim Wade has 2 catches for 11 yards. So, Coach, what would you like to see Susquehanna do better in the second half?
I'll tell you the truth. Defensive front, they need to get up the field a little bit. They're sort of like a reading-type defense, but they need to get people up the field. They can't not allow Cherry back there dancing around until he finds a position to get himself up the field. So they need to get defensively up the field, disrupt that offense a little bit.
So Susquehanna will get the ball to begin this second half. Last year, remember, Hopkins won this one 24-7. Susquehanna coming off a loss last week to Lycoming, 42-13. Lycoming winning their game easily over Albright today down at Reading. So finally, Hopkins makes an appearance back on the field. The weather looks pretty good now, Coach. The rain has stopped. The field turf looks very good, and the ball shouldn't be as slippery.
Starting to clear to our west, it looks, and you're right, the ball should not be as difficult to handle here.
7-6-6.
Cresco is 11 for 16, you mentioned, and I find that, that's a very good percentage. When he's had time to find people, and the receivers we've talked about, they have experience, they're able to run the route away from the defender.
I think the big thing, no interceptions and no sacks.
Managed game. Offensive line doing enough, and Susquehanna sprinting to the corner when they have to get away from that rush.
So Hopkins tees it up. That is the freshman, Jamie Sullivan. Back to receive will be Tommy Bluge and Kwan Hale for Susquehanna. So it's second half play underway in the Centennial League opener for both teams, and this ball sails on the far side to Hale. Trying to avoid a lot of players, 2 stiff arms, 3, and finally he's taken down about the 12-yard line.
Yeah, he had to run from the extreme left of the field to the right. Never did gain much yardage up the field. Johns Hopkins special teams doing a nice job converging on the ball carrier.
So here comes the freshman again out of Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey, Nick
Crisco.
Crisco.
1st and 10 from their 12-yard line.
You saw his numbers there momentarily. A career day in his second start here with the Crusaders. Tim Wade will be the feature back behind the offensive line. And they'll hand it off to Wade, and big stop from number 25, Joe Tumbetti, a junior, from his linebacker possession.
Blue Jays.
Left side, Wade decided to come back, picked up a couple.
On the play, 2nd down.
Again, you don't want to do something to turn that thing over easily, but you do want to make an advance up the field, Bob. You don't want to put your defense right out there. You want to try to do some things offensively.
2 turnovers today, both from Hopkins. Blue Jays in the 4-4 show the blitz. Crisco, good pressure. And one receiver went one way. Too many receivers, coach, in the middle of the field. That goes incomplete.
I'll tell you what, if you have 2 receivers, you have 4 or 5 defenders, and that's exactly what happened there. Crisco got it up and threw it away. Now we're looking at 3rd and about 8.
And I don't think that's the quarterback's fault. It looks like the receivers, one of them didn't run the right play.
No, lazy patterns, it looked like. Pasco, the tight end, was up the field. They had 1 or 2 wide receivers there, so
another 3rd down coming up for Susquehanna. They're 4 of 10 on the day, 40%. Just a 3-man rush. Crisco has time if he can find anybody. He's going to go long. And it goes incomplete, trying to hit Casey Crody out there.
With time, but his
and now Crusaders forced to punt as they held the ball for just over a minute.
I'll tell you what, Crisco is more dangerous when he starts running around back there. I don't know if that 3-man rush, right there, he's able to elude a defender, get to the corner, and make a throw. And not a bad throw.
Definitely a mobile quarterback. So Hotaling in again. Here comes the big rush. Better kick this time from the senior, and it's a fair catch out there by Evan Adamo. So the Hopkins high-powered offense comes back on the field. They have 12 first downs today, 224 total yards as we showed you. The possession time just 11:22, but they have been running that up-tempo type of offense.
They run it well. We talked about the running backs for Johns Hopkins.
And here is one of them, Stuart Walters, outside, knocked out of bounds by Cody Miller, but not after 7 yards.
I'll tell you what, there's a good example right there. Walters danced around back there before he really went up the field. He ended up picking almost 9 yards up on that play. That can't happen. You have to be able to disrupt the play defensively.
Anderson, 6 of 11, does have an interception today, 53 yards. Here's Walters again. Big push from the offensive line, and they're going to give him a first down over the 41. So Hopkins gets very good field position. And now the pressure back on the Susquehanna defense to hold them.
You know, that's something else, Bob, we talk about. As they line up, they're ready to go again.
Walters again. Still driving his feet. You know, they're picking up 6 yards on first down.
Exactly, and that's my point. I was going to talk about the offensive line. They're coming off the ball. They're giving that back room to maneuver. picking up good yardage on first down.
It is an offensive line coach that only returned one man up front. That's number 64, Colin Egan. The other 4 all brand new. So at Hopkins, they reload. Anderson out quickly, and is it a lateral? Nope, they're going to call it incomplete.
A forward pass incomplete. We're looking at a third down coming up. But again, they are in Susquehanna territory as you see the replay.
Coach Briggs talked about third down efficiency. Hopkins, 4 of 6, 67% today. So this is a big play now for the Crusaders defense. Want to stop this opening drive. He gives it to Cherry. Picks up a block and has a first down just inside the 30. Let's call it the 27. So there's that zone read, Coach.
I'll tell you what, they run the read play. Quarterback, again, doing a nice job with it. You have to worry about him. Cherry, once he turns downhill, he's a tough running back. He turned downhill there, ran lateral for a while, turned downhill, and then picked up the first down.
Anderson doing a good job managing the game. The Cherry again, out of Parkville, Maryland. First team Centennial. Picked up 986 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2013. And last week had 76 yards against Randolph-Macon. And he surpassed that already today.
I'll tell you what, we talk about Krusko managing the game. Anderson's done a very good job also for Johns Hopkins.
Cherry coming up on the 100-yard mark here in the third quarter. Anderson back, no pressure, and he finally gets it out to Cherry. He always makes that first man miss, and he did again, but short gain, third down coming up.
Good pursuit by that Susquehanna defense. Got there quickly. They got to the ball. We're going to take a look at it here. Anderson with opportunity to look around. There you see Cherry, but there are 3 defenders right there, all getting there to make the tackle.
Stopped by Barry, the returning linebacker from Staten Island. Zone read, Anderson keeps it. So he's doing a nice job reading the defense, and that's what it calls for.
I'll tell you what,
Anderson keeps it on the option.
Bob, when that ball goes in, somebody has the ball carrier. Now, whether it's the defensive end that takes the quarterback, here you see it, or a scrape linebacker who got blocked. That was Barry. He was supposed to take the quarterback. He was blocked, opened up big for Johns Hopkins.
Doesn't take Hopkins long to run down the field. Give it to Cherry. Couple yards on that. So on first down, it is up to about the 6. They can get a first down at the 1.
Now we're in a situation that I'm sure Coach Briggs didn't want. Offense come out, didn't move the ball. Johns Hopkins with field position. Now they're looking to score from the 6-yard line.
He's to the 6, second down.
So second down coming up. Blitz. And I think we might have some movement up front. They'll stop it. As it went to Roman, Denisio Roman. Looks like their big play inside the 10 back. So far in the red zone, Hopkins 2 for 2 on the day. And we'll see if James Toomey, our referee today, will have offsides against Susquehanna.
Unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, half the distance. Second down.
So there you heard it. So the ball up to the 3. So second down and 1 coming up for Hopkins. And red zone this year, last year in the red zone, 84% for Hopkins. 46 of those a touchdown. So when they get in the red zone, they can score pretty easily. Give it to Roman. Hurdles up to the 1, inside the 1. So it'll be first and goal now for Johns Hopkins.
Roman, they're back. They wanted to bang in there, and he does a good job picking up first down, almost getting into the end zone.
Whole host of players in there, including Mason Spangler from Emmaus. So the ball inside the 1. Hopkins on their opening drive of the second half. They're going to actually measure now. Susquehanna took the ball to begin this second half, couldn't do anything with it. And this drive started at the 49.
A big part of that, obviously, Hopkins played very well defensively with the punt away. Fair catch was made in Susquehanna territory, as you mentioned, at the 49. So this drive was a short field drive, really.
But at 11 plays. This is their 11th play. It goes so fast that and a touchdown for the Blue Jays as Roman makes it look easy off the right-hand side. And now the Crusaders lead up to, the Blue Jays lead up to 20-13.
Again,
pending the extra point.
Yeah, and again, the punch by the offensive line allowed Roman really to find a crease up there and take it into the end zone.
So Sullivan in for the extra point. It is up, and this one is good.
Sullivan's kick is up.
So the 13th ranked Blue Jays from Johns Hopkins takes this one down the field 49 yards, and they now lead Susquehanna 21-13 as Denicio Roman puts the Blue Jays back in the end zone.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week. Brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealership and McCann School of Business and Technology.
NFL action continues on Fox 56 this Sunday. Carson Palmer and the Arizona Cardinals take on Eli Manning and the New York Giants. Coverage begins at noon only on Fox 56. We are back at Lepardo Stadium inside the Sunbury Motors press box. Bob Ide and Joe DeMelfi. Mike Ferlasso down on a dry field now. The rain has stopped here, at least momentarily, but the clouds, blue skies in the air, Coach.
Yes, as I mentioned, clearing to the west makes for a better game for both teams.
And you know what? It lets the Blue Jays fly now in the air, and the Blue Jays on the field now are flying as they lead by 8 now over Susquehanna. And this is Hale. Needs to hold on to the ball up to the 27. So now Susquehanna, I think, has to show something on offense, at least to answer.
We talk about going 3 and out. You can't do that. Again, you put your defense right back on the field. I think what they need to do, I keep saying this and emphasizing it, but Krusko has to be on the corner. And I think also one of the things they might do is run their plays to the corner rather than trying to go tackle to tackle. They've been having a tough time with that.
Hopkins took just over 4 minutes in that last drive for a touchdown. 11 plays, 48 yards, 4:06 off the clock. Krusko carries it and gets tackled from the backside. Nice job by the linebacker out there, number 16, Coach. And we've seen him out there, Longo, a lot today.
He has done an excellent job. Longo has made that tackle from the backside. Krusko hesitated just a second to follow the right side, but never did get there. In fact, ended up losing a yard or two.
Longo's 4th tackle this afternoon for the Blue Jays. So a 2nd and long now, call it 11. Krusko trusting, can't hit Murtha, his big fullback over the middle.
Tried to run fullback flat. Looked like the throw was pretty decent, maybe a little low. Couldn't handle it.
Down for the Crusaders.
So now we're looking at a stopped clock, 3rd and 12. I think one of the things you look, maybe your tight end here, try to get him up the field. They've used him sparingly, but good size.
Also look for Walker now. He's in the slot position, number 1. Here comes the blitz off the outside. Krusko with time. Over the middle. Tipped. What a nice job by the linebacker. Number 14, the free safety, Ryan Rice.
Yeah, Ryan
Rice got a tip.
Rice played a great job there as we have a Susquehanna player down, but Rice did an excellent job. What did he do right? He stayed home. Didn't drift either side, just played that 3 deep safety. Excellent job, knocked the ball down.
And I think this is Walker, who's down on the field, looks like a hand injury or of some kind. As he tried to make a diving catch out there, and that could be a big blow for Susquehanna. He's a 6-foot senior out of Baltimore. Their leading receiver coming back with 615 yards a year ago and 5 touchdowns. He's also been their inspirational leader on the field as he leads the team out for play each week and gave a very motivational speech last week in the huddle before the game with Lykovic. So the sun is peeking through. Skies are brightening up here in Sealands Grove as Susquehanna is now trailing by 8.
Trailing by 8, putting their defense back on the field. Going to have to punt it away. I think one of the things now, maybe you start taking a chance offensively, especially if Johns Hopkins drives the ball here, Bob, and maybe comes away with some points as Walker is led off the field.
We'll see if he makes a return. But, yeah, you just talked about it. Now the punting team back on. They did have one blocked last week. Hopkins has gone after it all afternoon. Low kick by Hotaling. Right into the hands of Adamo. And again, good field position available now for Hopkins inside Susquehanna territory.
Right at the 49 again, where the last drive originated, came away with points. Again, it's at the 49, and even though they took 11 or 12 plays to score, Bob, it's still a pretty short field when you're talking about half the football field rather than 70 or 80 yards.
So Anderson back out from Great Falls, Virginia. This to Walters on the read. And he picks up a couple of plays. Mike Ferlazzo down on the field with another special guest, Michael.
Thank you very much. I'm down here with Madeline Rainier. She is the Vice President of Enrollment and Marketing here at Susquehanna University. And Madeline, as you look here at this beautiful Susquehanna campus, talk about the value of the educational experience and what that gives the students.
Well, Mike, this is a really great place to work. Our students are bright, they're hardworking, and you can see from their performance on the field today, they love a challenge. One of the greatest things about Susquehanna is our students are guided by our terrific faculty, and they're very intentional about connecting the liberal arts and sciences that they're studying with what they think they'd like to do after they graduate, and we're here to support them every step of the way.
So what's the profile of the typical Susquehanna student? Who are you looking to recruit here?
Well, our typical student would have an A- or a B+ average. They would have scored well above the national average on the SAT or ACT. And they'd also be a student who had some pretty significant involvements, either in their school, maybe they're an athlete, could be community service, could be involved in religious organizations. We're looking for people who are doers, people who believe that they have the capacity to make a difference and make a contribution. Those are the kind of students that really stand out in our admission process.
And probably some people that like maroon and orange as colors too, right?
Absolutely. If you can get with maroon and orange, you are one of us.
Well, thanks, Madeline, for joining us down here, and hopefully the Crusaders can make a comeback here in the second half.
All right. Thank you, Mike, very much.
Okay, back up to you.
What a beautiful campus, though. I really don't mind the drive down here. It's a beautiful campus, a beautiful town of Sealands Grove.
I'll tell you what, and we talk about athletics and this facility. Mike interviewed Nick Lepardo at halftime. He's been very generous to the university because he feels the university has been very good to him. But this type of facility makes an impression on a recruit. I mean, I think he mentioned, I was listening to the interview, student can go anywhere pretty much.
Yep.
So this facility plus a great campus,
and
very good selling point.
And a top-notch education. So 3rd and short now after the measurement for Hopkins. Both running backs, Walters and Cherry, were at 90 yards. Now Walters up over the 90-yard mark, up to near 94.
I tell you, we came into the game knowing both of those running backs were very, very strong. They're both going to end up with 100 yards, it looks like, during the course of the afternoon. Move the chains. Johns Hopkins in really no hurry now, although they are going from a no huddle type situation.
Little zone read. Now they're going to pass. Try the big play. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver.
Anderson's pass incomplete.
Anderson didn't do a great job there. He made the fake and then made a pump fake, but the defensive back did not bite on it. So it's tough to make that throw unless you're going to just throw it downfield. Here you see it. There you see the fake and the pump. That defensive back is under the throw unless you're going to throw it way downfield.
It was Jameel Hammond. So now, if you're Susquehanna's defense, do you put more pressure on the quarterback and make him pass the ball today?
You need to try to do that. Look at the room to run before. The offensive line completely dominant up front.
A big gain for Walters over the 100-yard mark inside the 20. Another red zone opportunity for Hopkins, and a flag comes in late.
Concludes Walters on the carry.
So Walters about 12 on that. Let's see what the flag is.
Here you see it. Walter spinning, coming down. Let's see if we can catch the flag right at the end.
Something inside the pile. You just don't know. But you're right. I mean, now I think the linebackers coach have to come up a little bit.
Conduct. Offense, number 42.
So Hopkins gets the penalty.
One of the things you have to do, Mike, if you're going to put pressure, you don't fall into a rhythm doing that. It has to be sort of random. What they need to do up front is have that defensive front. Now, the offensive line is having a say about that, but you cannot give 4 or 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. The back just has too much room to run.
So the personal foul against Hopkins, and Coach Margraf in his 25th season has a little bit of a conversation for the referees. I would say a little bit more of that. 25 years, 168 wins, 5 straight Centennial League titles for this team. Again, ranked number 13 in the country. Second week of play here in college football. So in Reed, Anderson keeps it. Nice job by the quarterback, and they're going to get that first down back up to the 21. So 11 yards on that, and he's doing a great job with that read again.
I'll tell you what, you have to change that up in the corner, too. Bring the end down hard. Let him collision this read, because the linebacker out of there, they're blocking the other linebacker, picking up good yardage. I think you have to change that look up defensively, or else you give them a pattern that you fall into, and they can easily read it.
Cherry inside now as Walters gets a breather, and he's up for about 7 on first down inside the 15.
The other thing, Mike, if you do that, bring pressure very quickly, that means the quarterback has to make a decision quickly. So he's going to have to yank that ball out. Here you see it. Here he gives the Cherry room to run up the field.
Hopkins averaging over 6.8 yards on the ground. That one goes for a short gain, so 3rd and short coming up.
Much easier up here than it was on the sideline, Bob, I have to tell you.
Oh, I bet. It's easier to see from up here, Coach. You could be a press box quarterback,
that's right.
And press box coach.
He's to the 13. Brings up 3rd down for Hopkins.
Time is ticking here. 8th play of this drive, which started at the 49 for Johns Hopkins. 2 turnovers in the first half negated 2 drives for Hopkins. Let's see if Susquehanna can get another big turnover here, as Walters is inside the 6. 1st and goal, Blue Jays.
The other thing about Johns Hopkins offense, they have backs going in different directions. If you're a defensive linebacker or if you're a lineman, you have to follow the lineman. They'll take you to the play offensively.
Up quickly, Blue Jays. Time still ticking here in the 3rd quarter. Anderson keeps it. He's going to ride a Crusader for a Blue Jay touchdown.
Yeah, we've talked about that play. If you give the quarterback a chance to read the whole thing, you just have to put a little pressure on him, even with a corner blitz or something, just something to change it up. Here you see it. Right there, he's able to look at it. He has a lineman blocking, does a great job right there. Number 73 for
Hopkins, Kyle Flynn.
He did an excellent job on the
broken play here on the extra point, and the holder, Aaron, nailed out of bounds, so the extra point goes. But the Crusaders now trail by 14. We're deep in the third quarter. Can Susquehanna get back to it? We'll find out. Show every critic is anticipating. Hits the streets Monday, September 22nd, only on Fox 56. We are back at Lepardo Stadium inside the Sunbury Motors press box. Bob Ide and Coach Joe DeMelfi. And, well, Coach Johns Hopkins making it look easy now. They're starting to really get into a groove, and the defense unable to stop them.
I think there are two things. Number one, the defense has been on the field an awful lot for Susquehanna. Number two, the offensive line, John Hopkins taking the game over, giving them running backs, Jerry Walters, time to get it up the field.
And kick goes up to Tommy Bluge, the freshman wide receiver. He returns it up to just over about the 30-yard line. So that's now where Susquehanna will start this third drive of the second half. Hopkins drive with 9 plays, 49 yards, a very short field again, 3:49 off the clock. And now here comes the offense for Susquehanna.
Look at the starting position, field position. Susquehanna has 75 to the end zone. Johns Hopkins has had 48, 49 yards to the end zone with their field position.
There you see the third down conversions, and that's one thing Coach Briggs talked about, his third down conversions. As Hale has a big play on the reverse. The junior wide receiver from Poughkeepsie, 13 yards up to the 43.
I'll tell you what, excellent job finding the slot there and getting it up the field. A little bit something different. Good job, good blocking on the corner, wide receiver. They don't have to be great blocks, Bob. All they have to be is shadow blocks.
There you saw number one, Denzel Walker, who was knocked up previous possession. He is back. And just to keep them honest, give it to Wade on the inside. But I think when they spread it out a little bit more, it kind of opens it up a little bit. They're gaining more.
Exactly. You're spreading your defense, helps your passing as well as your running. That time went off tackle, left side, nothing there, as Hopkins does a great job closing in on that. 2nd and 10 for Crusko and the Crusaders.
Just enough to keep them honest. Second down call. Fake the draw, and he's got time over the middle. He's got a receiver. So Crusko on target this afternoon to Crody for 12.
I'll tell you what, the fake again, the fake draw. Crusko does a great job getting back, set up quickly. Offensive line, nice job. They've thrown that ball well out of this formation, this kind of play action. Good throw.
First and 10, Crusaders.
Good solid throw. Now in Hopkins territory, the Crusaders trying to get something going. Here in the third quarter, down 14 now. Give it to Wade, and again, not much doing on the running game this afternoon. Loss of a half a yard.
Well, I'll tell you what, Johns Hopkins just did a great job closing on the ball quickly. Corliss was there, along with a host of other defenders.
Michael Rocca, one of those, 6'6", 260, a senior defensive tackle.
Now you're stuck in that 2nd and 10 again. Now they've been successful converting, again, off that formation where fake the draw.
Drive started at the 26. Crusko back, a little quick out to Howell. The defender fell down, and he's going to be up over for another Crusader first down.
Crusko's pass.
I'll tell you what, Howell did a nice job with the route. Defender trying to get out of there fell down, and
Howell takes it
good
for
throw
a Susquehanna
again.
first down.
Excellent job by the offensive line.
Curtis Antrim, the defensive back on that side, slipped and let Howell open, so a big play there. First down for Susquehanna. Looks like the blitz off the corners coming in. Not much of a push from the Crusaders' offensive line. Couple yards there.
Well, they were lined up 8 across defensively and 3 backs. I mean, it's going to be tough to run the ball. Play action might be good there. Even the sprint out of that kind of formation on that down and situation. And the reason for that is if they're going to close like that, again, you get outside and able to run around a little bit, you cause some problems for the defense.
Howell and Walker split to the right side this time. Another fake inside. Crisco has time. He gets it out, overthrown, and almost intercepted. Tried to hit Crody over the middle.
Crisco's pass incomplete.
And they looked like he had him at first, Bob. Stepped up very nicely, made a decent throw. Just couldn't get it there, and here you're going to see it. Offensive lineman did a nice job. Stepped up, got the ball high.
That's his first incompletion, though, on this drive, and we have a flag down. James Toomey, our referee, is signaling something. I didn't see anything yellow out there.
And I didn't either.
Oh, he wants the time changed again. He wants it put back to a minute on the clock, so they'll wait for that. And now finally, the Crusaders have something going.
Been mixing the run and the pass, although the pass has been more effective for the Crusaders at this point.
Absolutely. Career day for Crisco in his second game as a starter, 193 yards so far, 13 of 23, 2 touchdowns, and the big one. And I hope I don't jinx him, 0 interceptions so far.
But I'll tell you what, you can understand how the player, Crisco, will feel better about himself after this week. He's going to have 7-8 games left and doing an excellent job today.
Susquehanna heads to Dickinson next Saturday. Crisco looking lead deep, can't have anybody, and Hopkins gets the sack, back at the 40. First sack of the afternoon for the Blue Jays.
And I'll tell you what, you got to be able to recognize that. That's part of the growing process. He sees that pocket caving in. He needs to try to get out of there or throw it away. Right here, he sees it coming in on him. Needs to throw it away or try to get out of there.
Rocca and Fury in there on that third down. So another third down conversion not made by Susquehanna, and they're forced to turn it back over to Johns Hopkins.
But the offense served a little purpose there. They used some time off the clock and moved the ball.
Well, Talling trying to pin them deep, and that turf is going to take it into the end zone. So a touchback goes for Susquehanna, but Hopkins now has to start this one on their own side of the field, first time in the third quarter.
Exactly. They're going to start at 80 yards away instead of 49. Big difference. We're looking at the end of the third quarter very shortly here.
Third quarter that had seen 2 scores by Johns Hopkins on 2 short drives, and they've extended their lead to 14 now. New quarterback looks like in there for Hopkins, and we'll tell you who that is after this. So there's 3 quarters in the book, and the number 13th ranked Johns Hopkins Blue Jays have surged ahead now by 14 over Susquehanna.
And that brings the third quarter to an end with your score. Johns Hopkins.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week, brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
Welcome back to the campus of Susquehanna University. We are at Lepardo Stadium, Amos Alonzo Stagg Field. And it's the robbery of the week here on My Network TV. Bob-eyed Joe DeMelfi inside the Sunbury Motors press box. Mike Ferlazzo is manning the sidelines, now without an umbrella, as the sun has come out here in Sealands Grove. It's actually warmed up a bit, Coach.
It has.
We had some jackets on. We can finally take them off and feel pretty good. So new quarterback in for Johns Hopkins. Jonathan Germano, a sophomore out of Hawthorne, New Jersey, takes control.
I'll tell you one of the things about Germano, he's getting game time as a sophomore. He has a senior in front of him, but he's going to have 2 years of eligibility left. So the more game time he has on film for himself, the better quarterback he will be.
As I mentioned, Mike Ferlazzo's down on the sidelines, and he's got a little bit more. Mike?
Thanks, Bob. You might have noticed on that last punt that it was actually John Slater doing the punting for Susquehanna. Spencer Hotaling, who's their All-American punter-kicker, not doing the punting. No worry, nothing wrong with Hotaling. I just guess the coaches have decided today, whenever the ball is on the Susquehanna side of the 50, Hotaling is their long punter, if you will. John Slater being used on the other side of the 50, probably is the more directional punter. So that's the deal there with the punting game. Back to you.
Thank you, Mike, and that's something you can see on the field, and I did not. And interception, another turnover for Hopkins, the third of the day, second interception of the day, and that was Murray.
And I'll tell you what, Murray did a great job breaking on the ball. One of the things, you have a young quarterback, he's prone to mistakes. Germano looked like he wanted to run it up the field, stopped, pulled himself up and made a throw, and it was not a very good throw. It was off his back foot. He sort of floated it up there. Opportunity for Susquehanna.
Oh, but another sack.
Well, I think backside, that tackle was fighting with the defensive end there. And again, as Krusko develops more of an awareness, he'll feel that on his backside. Didn't see it, sacked, 2nd and 15.
Second in a row for a sack, and that was Michael Longo, his second sack of the season. And for more importantly for Susquehanna, it backs them up to the
36-yard line.
36, loss of 5, so 2nd and long now coming up for the Crusaders as Nick Krusko continues to be the quarterback for the Crusaders. Flag on the play and a little short as he tried to hit Walker on the outside, but let's see what the flag is. It was thrown immediately when the ball was snapped.
Yeah,
So it might be against the offense for some kind of motion.
Krusko threw that a little short. Walker slipped down on his route. Really nothing went right with the play. Let's see what happens with the illegal shift on Susquehanna, so that they're going to decline that. Johns Hopkins.
You know, if Susquehanna can get anything here, they're back in this one. Listen, you know, Coach, I mean, they're only down 14, 2 scores.
No doubt about it. If they could put some on the board here, whether it be 3, 6, or 7, let's see what they have in mind on a 3rd and 15.
Just a 3-man rush. They find him again. Walker over the middle. Denzel Walker up to the 15-yard line.
And he's got Denzel Walker.
I know one thing. If I'm the defensive coordinator of Johns Hopkins, I'm throwing the 3-man rush out for next week. I'm going after the quarterback. You let the receivers run around in that secondary. Krusko has time. Good job blocking the 3-man rush. Walker over the middle. Over the backers in front of the safety.
That's been open pretty much consistently all day. 20 yards on that. Krusko back on the... And a handoff to Wade. And a little bit of a push up inside the 11-yard line. This is the first trip to the red zone
goes to Wade.
For Susquehanna this afternoon.
Wade ahead to the 12, 2nd down.
Susquehanna does not have to be in a hurry. They have 12:50 left, 4th quarter. If they can score here, and it's important, almost imperative that they do, back in the ball game.
2 for 5 last week in the red zone against Lycoming. 2 touchdowns scored. One of those misses was a Hotaling field goal. Krusko with time. Gets it out in a little bit of a screen pass. Wade inside the 5, up to the 3.
Let's go to Wade.
Now I'll go back to my... Wade does a great job being an outlet on that pass. go back to my Crisco on the corner, and what he can cause you.
That's first and
right
goal,
here it is.
Susquehanna.
Got some linemen out there.
Power eye now. It should say straight up eye. Bertha the leader. Wade wigging inside. Not going to give him a touchdown. And second burst, nothing. No signal. They're going to call him down. No touchdown, Susquehanna.
Yeah,
what an effort by Tim Wade.
An extra push right at the end helped him get over. Susquehanna is able to score some points.
So after the interception, Susquehanna converts.
Here you see it, I formation, they're running the ISO. You see the fullback take the linebacker on as the extra point is up.
Hotaling puts this one through, and suddenly Susquehanna trails by just 7 over Johns Hopkins. On a big drive, 11 plays, 6 plays, 31 yards, and the Crusaders are back in this one.
It's going to be interesting now as we're taking another look at this. Fullback, ISO.
Can he get it? Wade pushing.
He's in at the last push. Looked like they were going to push him back. He slipped off, and that last push by everyone, including the offensive line.
Well, he got himself a touchdown, a big burst. And Crusaders are back in this one, 27-20. Just clawing away at the 13th ranked Blue Jays, and they're just close enough. Maybe they can pull off the upset. We're back at Lepardo Stadium, Susquehanna University. We are inside the Sunbury Motors press box. Bob I, Joe DeMelfi. I talked about that. 6 plays, 31 yards. Off of the interception, they convert. That's a huge offensive series for Susquehanna.
Exactly. Germano come in for Johns Hopkins. Made a little bit of a mistake. Murray makes the interception. Susquehanna converts it into points.
So this one high and deep. Taken by Walters out there, and he's all over the place, and they try to get the ball. They can't, but Hopkins will have this one at the 26, so let's see who's back out a quarterback coach and what Coach Margrave wants to do over there.
Well, there are two thoughts here. Number one, you have to go with your first group. It's a close ball game, and I think that's exactly what Coach Margrave's going to do.
Germano saw one series through an interception. Back out comes Anderson. And back comes out Walters and Cherry. Both have 99 yards today. And actually, they're going to start with Roman. And the defense shoots in.
I tell you what, good job early on.
Roman on the carry.
Susquehanna, Pecora, defensive end, closes in on that one, shuts it off.
They're going to stick with Roman in the backfield. Denisio Roman, we've seen mostly inside the 5. Anderson again kills him with that zone read. Picks up, 14 yards. And again, another big run from Braden Anderson.
Ran the read play again. Give him a changeup.
Surprised we don't see Cherry or Walters out there. Both have 99 yards.
I think the other thing about Johns Hopkins, offensively, they have 3, maybe 4 backs. Roman also is very capable.
Yeah.
So,
movement up front. Rowan Cade moved off the right-hand side. That will be a penalty of 5 yards for Hopkins. And suddenly that Hopkins high-powered offense that we've seen at full speed is slowing down a little bit.
You know what, Bob? The sun come out a little bit. All of a sudden, a little humid maybe. Defense is tired, but the offense has run a lot of plays. Is also
Ball to the 36 following
very tired.
No word, but I don't even see Cherry on the sidelines, number 20. See Walters with his helmet in the air. And this is their big back Romans, 5'11", 200-pounder. And he's up for about 6 yards.
Bangs it up in there off the left side, picks up good yardage.
So, Walters may have a shoulder injury. I don't want to speculate, but if someone is on the sidelines in a sling, just about the size of Brandon Cherry, that's why we couldn't see Roman now and Walters. Walters getting a blow. So, could be a big loss for Johns Hopkins, as it looks like Brandon Cherry is on the sidelines. They'll give it to Walters. Big rush. What a play by Rob Stearns, the junior.
I'll tell you, a defensive tackle. They were going to change up, and that's what I'm talking about. He went outside to cover that outside man running back, and they had someone else going to take the quarterback. Good call defensively, changed it up, 3rd and long.
Number 92 is listed as a fullback, but looked pretty good right there on the defensive line. 3rd down. 3-man rush. Anderson short hops it, and they're going to call it a catch, but he's going to be short at the 49. Looked like it hopped to me, but referee called it good, but 4th down coming up for Hopkins.
It's going to be 4th and about 3.
Ball to the 49-yard line.
Even though the ball hopped, he may have had his arms under it. Official obviously thought he did, so going to make 4th down manageable. Let's see, as Johns Hopkins looks to punt it away and let their defense.
So this will be only the 3rd punt of the day for Hopkins. The Crusaders come up with a big defensive play, as it looks like one of their backs, Jerry, is on the sidelines with some kind of arm injuries in a sling.
Sullivan on to punt.
Timeout.
I think Coach Briggs had a question of some sort.
The clock, he's looking at, oh, the clock is rolling. Clock is, and he's not happy with his clock operator. I mean, we're at home, we're at Susquehanna, the clock's got to be able to stop. So that will bring in Jamie Sullivan, it looks like.
They're going to check with the official who keeps the clock on the field to get the right time.
It will be Sullivan in, the freshman, to punt. Sullivan, the long kicker, his first punt of the day, as Aaron did the last 2 punts.
Now we're talking about the clock. Again, I believe, I don't know what.
Maybe it got a little bit of rain on it or something. So now a stoppage of play here. .907, they're looking for the game clock at. So stoppage here. We're trying to check on Cherry over there. Mike Ferlazzo doing his nice sprint across the field, trying to find out if, in fact, Brandon Cherry is laid up. And finally, they get it to 9:07. So Coach Briggs just staring up at the press box.
Crowd gave the clock operator a big hand for the 9:07.
Well, more importantly, Susquehanna looks like they could get the ball back. High snap. Sullivan with a low kick, they'll let it bounce, get out of the way, and Susquehanna will have good field position. They'll have field position at the 19 of their own 19. 8:51 on the clock. Susquehanna trailing by 7, and they have the ball. So that will send the offense back out.
Bob, if you want to see a quarterback grow up, let's look at this series right here.
Absolutely.
We have a freshman for Susquehanna within 7 points of nationally ranked Johns Hopkins. Let's see how the Crusader offense
Crisco today, 15 of 26, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and still 0 interceptions. He's back. He looks poised. He's got a receiver. Howell out there. He puts his head down.
I like it. Short throw to they're on the right hash, so it's a good, easy throw. Basically, if the cornerback is playing off, he was a completion.
We talk about Brandon Cherry. My speculation was he's laid up. What did you find out, Mike?
Well, I really couldn't get anything from the Johns Hopkins training staff. They wouldn't confirm anything, but what I can tell you is that his shoulder pads and his jersey are sitting at one side, and he's not in them. So that probably would indicate he's done for the day, but the training staff would not confirm that for me.
Not surprising. You are wearing a Susquehanna jacket, but that's okay. They thought maybe you were coach. But, yes, his shoulder pads are down. Coach, he's on his far sideline, on the other side, just about the 34-yard line with the jacket on. So that puts one of their big backs down. He already had 99 yards, but now it's up to the Susquehanna offense to make something happen.
And they just picked up that first down to make the first step happen.
Little swing pass out the way. He got some blocks. Minimal gain. Second down coming up.
Ran the flare ball again to Wade. He picked up a couple. 2nd and 8.
Wade with the catch.
7:52, down by 7.
Ball ahead to the 33-yard line. 2nd down.
Two tight end formation. They'll give it to Wade. A little bit of a hole. Still on his feet. Tim Wade taking Hopkins players all the way to the 48.
I'll tell you what, it is all Tim Wade there as he takes the ball down the field. Good yardage. Very strong with the running.
Now that will open up the pass game as we'll look at this play again, Coach.
He's able to move outside, then cut back inside. He has his players downfield offensively, occupying defenders.
Richardson back, laid up. Good stop by the middle linebacker, Jack Campbell.
I'll tell you
shoots
what.
in.
Very, very strong.
Ian Richardson on the carry.
Tackle.
That's Campbell's 6th tackle of the afternoon. So no gain on that. 2nd down coming up.
Campbell, 5'10", 200-pound sophomore. Steps up very big for the Johns Hopkins defense.
Hopkins scored 13 unanswered in the 3rd. So far, Susquehanna has 7 up on the board here in the 4th. Down by 7. 4-man rush. Crisco over the middle. He's got his tight end, or his wide receiver over the middle, Crody. Minimal gain, but still 3rd and short coming.
Good throw away from the defender. It was where the receiver could catch it. Makes it 3rd and about 5. You're looking at almost a 6-minute mark for Susquehanna in the 4th quarter.
Brings up 3rd down.
Don't know if they'll be willing, if they don't make the first here, be willing to give the ball up. They may not see it again. So let's see what happens on this 3rd down, Bob.
5 of 14, the Crusaders are on 3rd down this afternoon. Crisco's going to keep it. He's got room. That cloaks quickly. He's going to be 2 yards short. And now a 4th down call coming up for Coach Briggs. Do you pin Hopkins deep or try to, or do you go for it here? Here you see the play again.
I'll tell you, that right side fullback up in. Looked like Crisco was going to pick up the first, be just short. Personally, easy decision for me. I'm up here, but I would go for the first.
So timeout on the field. We come back, a 4th down call. Back at Nicholas Lepardo Stadium, Susquehanna University. Here in their Centennial League opener, and they're hanging tough are the Crusaders with the 13th ranked Johns Hopkins team that is 35-1 in the regular season, 13th ranked overall, and they have a 7-point lead. Bob I, Joe DeMelfi inside the Sunbury Motors press box. A 4th down coming up, 8th play of this drive that started at the 20. A big 4th down call today, the first one of the day. And another timeout called, this one by Johns Hopkins. So we'll stay right here this time.
Timeout Blue Jays.
So Susquehanna 1 for 1 today on the fourth down call. That gives us a chance to get it back down to Mike Ferlazzo.
Yep, I'm down here with Susquehanna men's basketball head coach Frank Marcinick. Frank in his 26th season here at Susquehanna. Exciting time last year, 17-10, advanced to the Landmark Conference Championship game. But you lost 4 seniors off of that team, Frank. So what do you have coming into this season?
Mike, we really have a good backcourt, maybe as good a backcourt as I've had in my 26 years at Susquehanna. We return a lot of experience. The only place we're not experienced is in the front court. And we got a couple young kids that are going to have to come along for us to match what we accomplished last year.
Well, I know Harley Sellinger was the big post player for you last year, 6'8", he's gone. Do you have some size coming up to replace Harley?
We do. We have 3 or 4 kids in that 6'6", 6'7" size range, but nobody with his experience or his athletic ability.
Okay, Frank, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mike.
Back up to you for this big fourth down play.
Thank you, Mike. Great job today on the sidelines. And let's see if now the Crusaders, what play they have in store.
Johns Hopkins called timeout after getting a look at the set. Let's see what they've decided to do defensively.
They
put
blitz.
Pressure.
Picked off. Intercepted. Ryan Rice. A saving tackle by Grotto, or he would have been all the way.
I tell you, they gave a little bit of pressure to Krusko. He made the throw on the slant ball. Didn't see the defender. We're going to get another chance to look at it. 1-2 and throw. Defender crossed in front on that slant ball. It looked like he was waiting for the play pretty much.
Johns Hopkins
Credit to Johns Hopkins defensive staff for looking at that and putting that safety in position to make the interception.
Plenty of time for the Crusaders to make a defensive stop if they can stop Walters, up over 100 yards right now.
Walters on the carry. McLaughlin
he
on
shoots
the
through for about
Susquehanna.
7. So now the onus on the Susquehanna defense. 2 timeouts remaining. We're near the 5-minute mark here of the game.
Krusko on that fourth down play didn't really read it. He wanted to make the throw, Bob, and made the throw without looking at the secondary.
Walters again in the backfield. It goes to him. Shades 2 tackles and finally is ripped down by McLaughlin, the junior linebacker, but not after a first down for Hopkins. Moves the chains.
There's a couple things in this situation. Number one, Susquehanna disheartened with the fourth down interception. Defense is a little tired. They've been on the field a lot.
So Walters now will be the featured back, as it looks like Brandon Cherry is laid up on the sideline. They're inside Crusader territory, 36-yard line. Big push from the offensive line. Ball on the turf. Susquehanna's got it. No whistle. Another turnover for the Blue Jays. McLaughlin comes up with the loose ball.
I tell you what, a great job of tackling the football by the defense. Whenever you need the ball late in the game, you always say to the defense, tackle the ball, tackle the ball. There you see it. People getting in there, pushing, pulling. As he is going down, the ball came out.
There is life here in Selinsgrove for the Susquehanna University Crusaders.
1st and 10.
Under 4 to play. Krusko back at quarterback. 3 receivers in. A little draw to Wade. Couldn't get out of the first tackles. We have a helmet go flying behind the play. Another backside tackle, though. Hopkins keeps doing that, Coach.
Exactly. I'll tell you why. They bring pressure from the wide side of the field to the short side because they have found some type, and that was Rocca again coming hard, who had the back tied up. But they've found no threat to the wide side of the field, so they're bringing pressure from that side. And if Susquehanna is zone blocking and they step in that direction, backside comes very quickly.
Back to the eye for the Crusaders. Krusko has some pressure. Has a guy. Nice pass hits Walker as he touched that one just over the linebackers.
I'll tell you what, Walker's very good at that middle route. You mentioned that earlier. And he has time. Krusko has time. Here you see it. Now Walker's running that route all the way across the field. Krusko just able to get it away. Good throw, good catch.
15th first down of the day. We talked about the running backs for Hopkins who are 100 yards. How about the two receivers for the Crusaders? Both at 100 yards. Howell and Walker as the catch is taken by Murtha for about 5-yard gain up to the 44.
Late route out by Burka. Good, again.
Second down.
Pretty easy throw. Kruska gets it there. Second down and 5. Here you're going to see it. Lined up Burka to the left. There you see it. He does the out. Johns Hopkins closed on it quickly, but not before Susquehanna picked up good yardage.
As I mentioned, Denzel Walker and Will Howell both at 100 yards receiving this afternoon. Both have a touchdown. Let's see if Krusko can find them. He does. Little out pattern by Howell. Steps out of bounds near midfield. 1 yard short of a first down.
I like it. Again, we have the sprint to the right side, or a roll, really. You're going to look at it here. Nick Krusko makes the throw. Howell with the catch. And we're going to have a first down.
First down as Krusko takes it over his center, Matt Baker. And now things are rolling for Susquehanna, trailing by just 7. They're over midfield inside Blue Jay territory. And now they're going to take a play out of the Blue Jay playbook. They're going to put the ball up quickly, and that's going to be a little bit short as Krusko couldn't get much arm strength on it. His first incompletion of this series, and he has three or four now on this series.
Wasn't really set. Tried to do it very quickly. Didn't take the step forward toward the receiver, and that left the ball short. Stop the clock, 2nd and 10, 2:08 in the ball game.
Susquehanna does have 2 timeouts remaining. Get it out, little wide receiver screen. Couldn't get much blocking for Howell, but a yard gain.
What you want there, Bob, is your wide receivers just to occupy those defenders. That didn't happen. 3rd down and 9.
Again, I'm looking at Walker over the middle. That seems to be open this afternoon.
If he has time, it's a great pattern.
So 3rd down and long. Krusko, I think he's going to be called for intentional grounding. Nope. He was out of the tackles, out of the tackle box.
Yep.
He's going to be laid up a little bit, so he got hit again from the backside.
That time the 3-man pressure worked. They had someone get up the field.
Kyle Bonchi, the sophomore, backup defensive end, catches Krusko. And good job by the freshman, at least to get it away. So it gives them an opportunity here on 3rd down.
The other thing, Bob, he had the presence of mind to get outside the tackle box to make the throw.
Centennial football scores for you. It was Muhlenberg over Franklin and Marshall, 42-7. Moravian defeated McDaniel, 28-7.
So here is the Crusader schedule rest of the way. Next week they head to Dickinson, then Gettysburg, Muhlenberg, Moravian, or Sinus, and they'll finally wrap up the year November 15th against Juniata. So all those in league play. And again, Susquehanna 1-9 last year, but played a little bit better, and they feel very confident going into this season.
I tell you what, I didn't see them against Lycoming, saw the score, but it looks like they've made some progress here between Lycoming and Johns Hopkins.
Well, they got 4 big turnovers this afternoon. Our next game here on My Network TV, we go back to the high school ranks, and it'll be a rare Thursday game, as we'll be back in Scranton, as we'll see the Scranton Prep Cavaliers host the Scranton Knights. That'll be Thursday at 7 here on My Network TV in a big Lackawanna football conference game.
And that should be a good one, Bob.
That should be a very good one. Both teams, Prep 3-0, Scranton 2-1. So a big 4th down could be the play of the game. Last play of the game for the Crusaders if it doesn't complete. Big rush. Krusko back out. Has a guy. He's got his receiver. He's got it. Pasco. Pasco loses the ball. Recovered by the Blue Jays.
Krusko able to get to the corner, make the throw, and I don't know what caused the fumble. Pasco across the field made a great catch, would have had possession at about the 4 or 5 yard line, but the ball came loose. I don't know if we'll get another look at that, and we will.
We go.
Here you see it. Again, corner. Chance to find Pasco coming across, wide open. He stops. And number 14, I'll tell you
Ryan
what.
Rice.
That's a great job by Rice. A great job by Ryan Rice.
So, a huge play. Devon Pasco made a nice catch. They would have had first and goal. Instead, Ryan Rice comes back, knocks out the ball, and it was recovered by Antrim, Curtis Antrim, down at the 6.
I don't know if Rice knew he was going after that ball. He just went up to tackle, but he punched the ball out, and just unbelievable. But it gives you an idea of Krusko when he gets to the corner, how much time he has, because Pasco had to come all the way across the field.
Well, first of all, it was a huge play. I mean, Krusko has something to build on now for the Crusaders as they've found their quarterback this afternoon.
Coach Briggs obviously shaking his head in frustration, but I'll tell you what, he's made some advances with this team in the last week. Obviously, they've come some distance as the
1-1-2.
So now another clock malfunction. 1 timeout remaining for the Crusaders. And really, if all Hopkins has to do is run this one out. Wow. What a game here at Susquehanna. After the Crusaders lost a huge one last week to Lycoming, 42-13. What an effort today. There are no moral victories. I know as a coach, if I asked you that, you said there are none. But really, Susquehanna has to feel like they have something to build on.
There are no moral victories, but I'll tell you what, there are losses that you can build from, and this will be one of them. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, Krusko, over 214 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The defense played fairly well, caused 4 turnovers, even though they gave up some touchdowns to Hopkins. They played very well. They have 2 receivers over the 100-yard mark. Denzel Washington, 110. Will Howell, 106 yards. And they each have a touchdown of their own. So Steve Briggs will call timeout.
Anderson takes a knee.
Last timeout for Susquehanna. So the entire stadium in a state of shock, including this guy, Steve Briggs. Let's talk about his career here. 25 years, been to the NCAA Finals, 2009 Liberty champions, quarter century here for Coach Briggs.
And I'll tell you what, coached against him at Wilkes. He's a class guy, does a great job with this program. And didn't get a chance to see him today. Maybe I will after the game, but I really feel that they've done a nice job getting this team ready for Johns Hopkins today, who came in there highly touted.
So the Crusaders hung in there all the way to the end against the 13th ranked Blue Jays. And they played them tough last year down there. But today they're going to come up, I would say, 1 fumble short of a big win. So that should do it. Steve Briggs heads to the field. He's going to congratulate Jim Markraft on the other side. And that should do it. They'll roll out the last 20 seconds. And this one will go in the book. So the Centennial League opener for both teams goes to Johns Hopkins. The final score, 27-20. We return. We'll wrap this one up from Lepardo Stadium.
For braving the elements coming out this afternoon. And we'll see you back here in 2 weeks.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch and it's bringing me out the dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear.
Susquehanna University presents the Rivalry of the Week, brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships and McCann School of Business and Technology.
Don't underestimate the things that I will do.
We are back at Susquehanna University. The final score, the Crusaders lose a tough one this afternoon to the Blue Jays. The final score, 27-20. We are back inside the Sunbury Motors press box. Bob Ide and Joe DeMelfi. Let's head down to Mike Ferlazzo for some final thoughts. Mike?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I was at the Lycoming game last week, which, of course, Susquehanna fell, pretty one-sided 42-13. But, the old coaching adage, Joe DeMelfi will tell you this, the greatest improvement a team usually sees is between week 1 and week 2. And I'd say there were great strides made by these Crusaders from week 1 to week 2. They were certainly there, would it not have been for a fumble. But certainly Nick Krusco, the freshman quarterback, grew up a lot between that first week to this one. And I think he's going to be a good one for 4 years here for Susquehanna. The defense flew around, forced turnovers. They did everything right except come out with a win today. But maybe, just maybe, again, playing the 13th ranked team so close, they built some momentum into the rest of their schedule. It was a tough 1-2 punch with Lycoming and Johns Hopkins. Next week they play at Dickinson. I heard Dickinson lost to Juniata, so maybe Susquehanna can right the ship next week at Dickinson. Thanks for having me on the broadcast, guys, and back up to you.
Excellent job this afternoon, Mike. We'll have you back when we get down here one more time. And he's right, 0-2, but they're a better team than 0-2. A lot to build on, and look out the rest of the way.
Look at the film. Take us to the next level. Krusco can do that. There's no doubt in my mind. Defensively, they're pretty solid. They have some wide receivers. I think things are looking pretty good for the program. And Coach Briggs might argue with me a little bit, but I think he feels good about what he saw today, all except the final score.
And they really had a chance, and that's all you could ask for against a 13th ranked team. You had a chance to win the game.
Exactly. And the fumble, Rice did a great job punching it out. Don't know if he knew he was going after it, but he punched it out.
Well, it was a heartbreaker here at Susquehanna. See if we're going to take a look at some of the highlights quick as the coach is now talking to the teams respectively down on the field. And here Krusco had a big game, 214 yards through the air. And another big receiver, Denzel Walker, preseason All-American. He had a big day, 110 yards on 6 catches and a touchdown. Here you see Wade pushing him, getting it into the end zone.
Yeah, this is the play where a little bit late, but he got there. Could push from the offensive line. Right at the end, pushed Wade into the end zone for the score.
Well, Susquehanna did nothing in the third quarter. Gave up 13 to Johns Hopkins, but in the fourth quarter, things clicked a little bit. They did get 7 points on the board, and Tim Wade today had himself a pretty good day on the ground. 58 yards, 2.9 per carry. He did have a big touchdown in the game.
Yeah, the last run was all Wade. He got to the outside, then turned it back inside as Krusco takes the snap here.
And here's that big play. Last play of the game, just under a minute to play. Pasco had it, and here comes Rice to knock it out. That would have been first and goal for Susquehanna, Coach, and boy, who knows what happens after that.
Exactly right. You're 5 yards short. They had enough time to score. Tough break, but again, something to build on. I think Susquehanna is going to be okay as the year goes along.
Absolutely, and we'll be okay as we're going to head up to Scranton for our next game right here on My Network TV. It is high school football on Thursday night, a rare Thursday game, 7 o'clock kickoff from Scranton Memorial Stadium, Scranton and Scranton Prep. That will be live on Thursday. And then week after that, we'll be up at Northwest for another Thursday game as well. So final thoughts here. Final score, 27-20, Coach. And thanks for joining me. Had a great time one more time, and another great college football game.
I loved it. Division III. I'll tell you what, great college football, as you mentioned. Thanks for having me, Bob.
No problem. I'll thank everyone here from Susquehanna University for having us down. And our crew did an excellent job in the rain this afternoon setting up. So everyone from Fox 56 Sports, for Mike Ferlazzo, Joe DeMelfi, this is Bob Ide saying so long from the Lepardo Stadium.